Welcome, race fans, as we are here live for the Black Magic Media Designs 250 here at Daytona, race number 11, the final race of the regular season. It all comes down to here, folks, as we are going to knock our playoff drivers and get them counted here after this race. Joining me today, David Huckleberry, being our producer, giving you these wonderful shots from Daytona. Also, my co-announcer, David Westergreen, myself, Gerald Campbell. We are excited to be here in Florida for a night race at Daytona. Wonderful super speedway, a lot of action. These are our stars here tonight. The drivers that are locked in already have themselves a good time here without having to even set foot into this race just as of yet. Is our top 10 drivers from Scott Crump, Tate Lytle, Nick Indelicato, Jonathan Cutlip, Chad Frankenfield, Ethan Stanley, Ethan Burrell, David Tooker, Tyler Fody, and Matthew Weeks. Those drivers are locked in. They have nothing to worry about except for going after that race win here tonight. The drivers that have to worry about trying to make it in on points or by winning or just staying where they're at is going to be these drivers: Johnny Thomas, Garrison Hogan, Ryan Gable, Seth Rawls. Those are our drivers that are in at the moment, but the drivers that are looking to try to get their way in, just a few of those are more further back, but there we go. Perfect. It's going to be the top 25 in points. These are the drivers realistically that have a shot to be able to get in, possibly with a win. So there is a scenario where if they win, they still don't technically make it in, but there is a shot for them with a win to be able to make it in. Realistically, they have to be in the top 25 in points, and these are the drivers: Trey Holmes, Ryan Scholl, Justin Fortner, Nick Massey, Jordan Owens, Joshua Clark, Michael Hossack, Jesse Racimas, Vincent Isabella, Leighton Norgard, Hunter Smith, Andrew Rucker, and Ty McIntosh, and the last one, Justin Wadsworth, our champion from ARCA yesterday, right back there in 28th. So a lot of drivers tonight looking at this race being a pivotal point in their chance to make it into the playoffs. What is your thoughts coming into tonight, David?
We'll keep our eye on the playoffs, obviously, like we mentioned. Get the rookie standings up here as well. But my biggest point of note here would be to keep our eyes on those guys outside the playoffs. They have nothing to lose at this point, right? They're the guys that are way down the order. I'm looking at even guys like Justin Fortner, who, as of right now, sitting on pole for this race, and there's a number of guys who didn't even make a lap: Tyler Fody, Nick Massey. So, you'll have those guys who are locked in. They're guaranteed to, I think, make the playoffs in this race, and those are the guys I think going for it. And then you'll have some guys, playing different strategies, right, hanging out at the back of the field, trying to avoid the chaos that is definitely going to come here at Daytona.
As you stated, we have our qualifying positions set. They still have yet to say who is out. There will be 3 drivers not making tonight's race. That's how many have shown up here tonight. Right now, this is what qualifying looks like. Luckily for us, we have it color-coded for everyone at home to see those drivers that are trying to get their way in. Justin Fortner able to get it done here tonight. Gets himself on pole. Josh Robin able to qualify second. Michael Hossack third. Kyle Hanshaw, Scott Crump, Trey Holmes, Jonathan Cutlip, Dustin Dewar, Ethan Burrell, Garrison Hogan is our top 10, and 11th is David Tooker and R.C. Anderson in 12th.
Yeah, Hunter Smith's going to roll off 13th today. Chris Wright will be 14th. Joshua Adams 15th. Matthew Weeks is there 16th. That's our points leader and probable regular season champion. 17th will be Josh Person at 18th. Richard Hearn. 19th, Robert Hill, defending race winner Robert Hill. And 20th will be Andrew Hardcastle. Ty McIntosh rolls 21st. Chad Frankenfield will start 22nd. William White, the Brit, will start 23rd. And Justin Wadsworth, aforementioned ARCA champion, will start 24th.
Brian Gable 25th. Wyatt Canado 26th. Seth Rawls 27th. Jesse Racimas 28th. 29th, Jordan Owens. 30th will be Chris Stouffer. From 31st to 36th is Carlo Acosta, Brenton Jones, Gavin Hibbs, Johnny Thomas for last week's winner, Leighton Norgard 35th, and Michael Goodman 36th.
37th will be Ethan Stanley if he can keep connection. Stanley's had some internet issues so far tonight. Hopefully he can stay connected. And then it'll be 38th, Justin Vandermarl, Andrew Rucker, 39th, Casey Hatch, probably 40th. I think Casey's locked into the field. 41st, Ryan Schuld, 42nd there in Delicado. I think Corey Abbott will be going home, but Nick Massey, Josh Clark, and Tyler Fode will be racing. A few of these guys will not be racing, and so we just need to see what race control sorts out with regards to who's going home.
Yeah, Chad muted the chat so no one could ask. I think Carlos Acosta was not able to make it, which is very not great for Carlos. I think they're going to extend the caution here, or the start here, so that way they can be able to just make sure they go through the field and check to see who is not qualified in. Again, 3 drivers going home with how things were set up here. Did not have enough time to be able to get that decided. I believe the other driver not able to get in was Chris Stouffer, one of our newer drivers to try to get in to the series here. I believe he did not qualify in, so they're still determining the last driver.
Corey Abbott is who the other one should be. So Corey, Carlos Acosta, and Chris Stouffer will miss the race. That'll put Josh Clark starting in last place. Tyler Fode will start next to last. Nick Massey will start, third to last there, 41st place. Nick and Delicado will start 40th. Ryan Schuld, he's going to start way in the back as well. It's another guy who needs to move up in those points. If Dave can pull it up one more time, a couple of those guys, Tyler Fode and Delicado, they're locked into the field, right? But if you go to that first layer of drivers out of the field, right? Ryan Schuld right there. Also, I think right down here is just Josh Clark as well, right there in 20th in points. So those guys are going to have to come from way in the back of the field.
There's multiple races going on tonight. There's also a race for the regular season, which is extra bonus points to go to your name. That is going to be down to Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fode to determine who is going to be able to get that regular season. I think there's only I believe a 14-point difference between the two, so good shot for either one of those drivers to be able to get that accomplished. What's funny is David, there was a little change in how they did qualifying here tonight, because Tyler Fode has won qualifying so many times and they contributed to his success at Daytona. He didn't set a qualifying time. I think he's making a statement. I think he's saying, you could start me from the back, I'm still going to win this thing.
I do. I also think he might have been hoping that his teammate Ryan Gable could get into the race and get logged in, and Ethan Stanley as well. But yeah, Fode not making qualifying time. Maybe he had a protest, like you said, and we changed the qualifying. It was average 2 laps. That's why it's not quite the same names that you typically see at these super speedway tracks in qualifying, with Justin Fortner winning the pole.
Unless there's a crash to take out Tyler Fode, I think we'll be talking about his name at the front of the field before it's too long. But the pace car lights are off. It's coming down. We're going to go green here at Daytona, where the racing gets good and the good gets racing. Let's go ahead and see who's going to be our regular season champion and who's going to make it in to the chase. As the green flag is out, that 26 car able to get rolling on that bottom lane. That's going to allow Justin Fortner to clear himself at the lead.
Yep. How about Michael Hosak and Kyle Hanshaw, both with really good qualifying runs, and the two of them trying to push their respective lane forward, but Hanshaw's lane, the lane that's losing out for now, and Jonathan Cullett now rockets to the top, going for the race lead as Justin Fortner leads it down the back.
Comers and goers, we're going to see who is going to try to be ballsy in here at the race. They're going to try to see who's going to be able to come back around to lead the first lap. Right now, it looks like it is going to be Fortner coming around. He might have it here. Scott Crump's going to have a good run on the outside here, coming to the line to lead the first lap. It is Fortner, our qualifying pole sitter, able to get the first lap left.
Yeah, that's huge for the points, right? Justin Fortner, one of those just barely on the outside looking in. You want to keep an eye on him in the blue and black car of Seth Rawls. He's a little bit further back in the field right now, so those would be two of your names to be keeping your eye on if you are wondering about the points. Rawls' car has the yellow spoiler, dark blue car way in the back there. Fortner, obviously, this gold, black, and white car up at the front of the field. Scott Crump up to the top. He's leading now with help from Jonathan Cutlip and his teammate Josh Robin. And a big move from David Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker just took that position on the outside. He saw that the outside lane is moving, and it is rocketing up to the front here. And we saw that kind of how the next-gen car reacts here at the super speedways. Just something about the high lane so far with this next-gen. You're able to get such a run of momentum that make that high side work more than any other generation of cup car that we've seen in the draft package, and we're seeing it a good showing right now of exactly what we're talking about. I feel like, Dave, this is exactly how we saw the Daytona 500 play out. There's a very high lane, and then there's a very low lane, and then there's just no man's land right in between the two that you do not want to find yourself in.
Absolutely, and we also saw it with this car leading, right? I think Scott Crump led a bunch of laps in the Daytona 500 a few months ago. So, I anticipate he doesn't have drafting buddy Vincent Isabella here tonight, but Scott Crump was definitely the dominant car, led a lot of the laps in that race, led a lot of laps on Monday night as well, but he came up empty Monday night, did Scott Crump. So I'm wondering whether Crump is kind of hungry, and obviously he's locked into the playoffs right now, so points are no matter. I think we'll see this 90 car up front all night long.
If Scott Crump is hungry, that man wants to win no matter what. He's seen his teammates go out and dominate this season. All of his teammates have had really good runs, except for Ethan Stanley's kind of been kind of not had the season he's wanted, but for most of Lake Norman, they've been pretty dominant. So he's definitely going to want to try to see if he can be able to have a win in the column going into the chase, and doing a really good job of being able to have control of that outside lane right now.
Yeah, he is. Scott Crump having not won a race, Ethan Stanley having not won a race, both of those guys are still locked in. You'd expect them to get to victory lane at some point during the rest of the season, and that means that their win would come in the chase time, the playoff time, which I think that bodes well for them going forward. I want to note the field has broken off into two distinct packs. There's a 25-car group, maybe 28-car group here at the front, and then there's about a second and a half back to this second group of cars led by Ryan Schuld. So, I think this group will maintain, they won't fall off, they won't lose the draft, but this group does contain Tyler Fody, it contains Nick and Delicato, a bunch of competitors that are going to probably move their way to the front before the end of the night, but it's headed by the two guys who are right on the edge looking in of the playoffs. That's Seth Rawls, who's last car in, Ryan Schuld, who's first car out. Yeah, actually, I think Trey Holmes is first car out, but Schuld is right there.
I think that's mainly on purpose there, just trying to give themselves enough room in case something goes wrong out front here. But I was talking to a few drivers, and they said that it is very easy to lose the draft in this package here tonight. So look for drivers to have a difficult time being able to get lined up here. But we do have some good battling at the front of the field. The bottom lane has started to line up just a little bit and be able to get back to battling with that high lane. Fortner able to get almost side by side at the flag stand with Scott Crump. So the bottom lane is not dead by no means. It is still having some signs of life as drivers are still picking and choosing which lane they want to be in.
And these three behind Scott Crump, Jonathan Cutlip, Josh Robin, those are two guys who, Cutlip is a very smart racer, right? And Robin is teammates with Scott Crump. Those guys aren't dropping down in front of Justin Fortner when they do get the big run on the straightaways where that outside line usually shines. And Kyle Hanshaw's not one of the more aggressive drivers, right? He's a little bit more patient, and so I think that's part of the reason you haven't seen this shake up at all, right? Where that outside line surges forward and somebody drops down and pulls the inside line forward. We're not seeing that right now. Outside line's controlling the race. Fortner's been able to get back up to the lead, but he hasn't been able to clear past Scott Crump and move up.
Yeah, right now still side by side through the whole field here. As we stated, the reason why you're not seeing anyone really try to make that middle lane work is the side draft is so strong in these cars that you end up having a car to both sides of you, and that just really slows you down.
Gerald, if you had to guess one car who's 3 wide right now, who would you guess?
Chad Frankenfield.
Well, no, your second guess. He went away from 3 wide, as I said. Well, actually, Tyler Fody is 3 wide currently. He is shot the middle on Andrew Hardcastle. So there you go. Mine was going to be Andrew Rucker, right? And he was 3 wide when I.
That was my third option.
I clicked back to him, The other one was going to be Nick and Delicato. Rucker and Delicato have both forced it 3 wide. I've seen Fody force it 3 wide. There's some guys that are interested in riding, and there's some guys that are interested in moving forward and making those bold moves, and watching Delicato make one right here on Richard Hearn. And he's going to get turned into the wall. There you go.
In the wall.
There's going to be caution number 1. Nick and Delicato forces it 3 wide and ended up not having enough room, and Delicato's locked into the chase, but the 3 wide TV Ford looking heavily damaged early in this one.
And see, that was a move that you kind of, if you're Nick and Delicato, you got a guy you don't know very well right in front of you. He's only making his second ever start, showed up in the wrong number, so you really don't know him, and he doesn't know the rules too well. You kind of, oh no, he came up.
Yeah, you were trying, right? But Nick and Delicato's aggressive, right? He's a very aggressive driver.
I thought that might have been
a lot.
Yeah, I thought that might have been a situation that they would have came into each other, not knowing each other that well. But no, I don't think the 73 moved at all. That was all on Nick and Delicato there.
And if you're gonna make a 3 wide move very early, lap 10 in 30th
line.
place, you gotta make sure that you don't wreck. '73 could have given him a little more space, but again, you gotta make sure you don't. Yeah, you gotta make sure you don't. Yeah, you gotta make sure you don't raise it a lane and a half there and wreck yourself into the outside wall.
Yeah, so that's gonna be an early caution. Luckily for us, though, it didn't involve a ton of drivers, so that will maybe be a warning to the other drivers. That 3 wide is going to be a little sketchy, as we do have some strategy being played out here. I'm quite surprised to see cars already coming down pit road.
I think anytime you can come grab a tank of fuel in this next gen car with only 90 laps remaining here at Daytona, it's going to change the way this race cycles through. Obviously, Josh Adams, Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fody, they have cycled to the front, but yeah, fuel only for Scott Crump, Jonathan Cutlip, Justin Fortner, the leaders. They're not worried about tires. I think you can probably run the entire race on one set of tires, just about. I don't envision they'll be taking tires unless they have to take a full, I think it's 22 ounce can of fuel there, and if you do that, then you do have time to take 4 tires. But I think fuel only is going to be the call.
I would agree with you for most series racing at Daytona. Not so much the Cup car. I would say the Cup car, out of any iRacing Super Speedway packaged vehicle, is one of the most difficult to be able to gain track position, just because it's so hard to be able to get runs made that, I don't know, you find a way to be able to get up front, kind of like what Tyler Fody just did. Yep. Is kind of going to be key. I mean, all he needs is a 20-lap run and a caution comes out, and then he's golden, set to be running up front again. So I don't know. I kind of like what these 3 drivers up front did right now, and go for the track position early.
Yep, I think going for track position is definitely a wise move. One guy who lost all his track position is Garrison Hogan. He's back to 41st. Not sure if he had a slow pit stop or what happened there. Speeding on pit road, maybe? Not sure, but Hogan and Fody have effectively swapped spots. Hogan was in the top 10 before this caution. Tyler Fody now from about 40th spot all the way up to 3rd.
You mean Tyler Fody found a way out front without having to qualify?
Yep, he sure did.
Well,
we'll see what happened here. 36. Looks like it might just be a slow stop for Garrison.
Oh, did he go too far forward? Yeah, he did.
Slid over the line, but that's not really he lost a couple of spots. His contemporaries were the guys pulling out right there, and he just stayed on pit road.
I don't know. Maybe his pit crew didn't show up tonight.
We are 1 to green over here now, but yeah, it looks like just a slow stop for Garrison Hogan.
Again, this helps Fody out because he's going to be trying to go up there and getting some laps led here. Again, he's having a regular season battle with Matthew Weeks to try to get that regular season locked up to him. Again, that's extra bonus points, so it's not just the bragging rights to being able to win the regular season. There's actually a benefit for your championship hopes as well.
I am curious whether we continued the belly up bracket into Daytona. I thought originally it was supposed to be Fody versus Tay Lytle, But Tate missed the road course. We pushed it to Daytona, and Tate's not here
It's
either.
not here again.
So is Bodie just the winner of that money?
I would. I'd be honest.
I think that's where it has to be, right? We'll have to check with the belly up representatives and see what they want to do there. But Josh Adams up front, I do want to note that we haven't talked about him much all this season.
I mean, unless when you get to the final two, you can just skip the races you don't want to try to compete for the money and show it to the track you really want to go after and get the money. Maybe he's really good for the next race. What is the next race? Maybe that's the one he wants to show up for to try to collect the cash.
You could be right. Josh Adams coming back to the lead here. Ethan Stanley has also adopted the strategy of teammate Tyler Fode, so 3 Lake Norman cars running with Josh Adams, who is formerly of that Lake Norman group, as we'll get the restart here on lap 13 of 100.
Back to the restart line, Josh Adams goes. He's going to lead that top side with Scott Crump right behind him and drop down. Wow. He barely heard the word clear. I don't even think the word was ever finished before he dropped down right in front of Ethan Stanley. That's going to put now right behind him 3 Lake Norman cars. So that one car is going to have some teammates to have to deal with. And there they go. Oh, not able to get up there high enough. That's kind of what you have to predict whenever you're dealing with 3 teammates all in a row.
Yep. Lake Norman did a really good job of getting their guys the lead, but now with Ethan Stanley out front, that will burn more fuel in that 92 car, which is already 10 laps short of everybody else in the field.
That is true, but I think they just want to try to be in front of the pack right now. So however that works out, Tyler Fode right behind Ethan Stanley. So now Lake Norman 1, 2, 3. They're going to hope that doesn't jinx them like it did last week, where they were 1, 2, 3, 4 with their other teammate Gable, and then it all went wrong the lap after, and that's when it went downhill for Lake Norman last week.
Yeah, it went all downhill. A bunch of these guys got in accidents. Tyler Fode still finished in the top 5 after getting cleaned out, but that's just about how it goes for Tyler Fode, right? Guy who's really skilled at this stuff, but he also gets pretty lucky. And you've seen it here, and he started in the back, didn't qualify, but here he is running second.
I think it's more just when you run fast, luck is more noticeable. I think that's kind of what it plays out. But here comes a run by David Tucker on the bottom lane, getting that push. I believe that is that RC Anderson right behind him. Yeah, run by RC, not one that you would normally see at that. What is Scott Crump doing?
Scott's going 3 wide around his teammate. That checked up the outside lane, put Smith 3 wide, it put White 3 wide. Somebody bailed on this big field.
A lot of beat and bang. I almost saw Chris Wright get put into the wall there. Scott Crump's going to find a way down to the bottom lane there and get out of that middle lane. That middle lane is sketchy. David Tucker got pushed up the racetrack by RC Anderson.
Yep, they want that top lane. It seems like everybody's fighting for the top, like you would, think to fight for the bottom at most of these racetracks. I think you mentioned that earlier, that this top lane just seems to have a little bit more speed, especially on the straightaways when everybody's all lined up. Here comes Ethan Morrell looking 3 wide.
I don't think they want to. They're getting shoves. Oh boy, there's a lot of checkup right now in the high lane. That's going to force Matthew Weeks down into the middle lane. This is very notorious for these next-gen cars. The checkups are very bad. As you see now, David Tucker trying to do a side drive, zigzagging back and forth. That is not going to make things very pleasant for the drivers in the back. Chris Wright in the wall back there gets back off of it. It is getting hairy out there right now.
David, keep it on cut lips area right here. This is the eye of the storm, as it were. Host the guys 3 wide, including Trey Holmes, who is first car out of the playoffs right now. So Holmes needs to not be involved in anything and have a clean night. And here he is, 3 wide, right in the middle, trying to move up front.
And Matthew Weeks, our regular season leader, while his competitor is running in 10th, not that far in front of him. So he sees him running right there, but he's in a lot more precarious position, running in that middle lane. This is not friendly for any of these drivers, because it is a little bit out of control with all the wind and aero affecting how these cars are driving right now.
3 wide, 4 or 5 deep. Here comes Scott Crump to the middle of the racetrack. He's trying to
Oh,
get up in
man.
front of Jonathan Cutlip. This is yeah, he's gonna get there. Scott Crump's got a big run in the middle.
I don't know what Scott Crump ate this morning, but he is very much the aggressor here tonight. He is forcing it in whatever positions he can, trying that middle lane now. He now gets it back onto the bottom lane, now leading the bottom lane, trying to see if he can be able to get back up there. These drivers are not only racing very hard, but they're probably learning a ton as they're able to do it, trying to figure out exactly how they're going to be able to make these positions work, how they make the draft work, how they can be able to make the passes happen when we get closer to the end of this race.
Remember Garrison back and covered his long pit stop there. He's halfway through the field already. He's up 17th.
Yeah, I can't believe I said it was hard to pass here.
Yeah, they stacked him up. Garrison went to the middle, caught up through the middle because nobody was running there, and drove past half the field.
I mean, sometimes it works, and then sometimes you end up like Nick Indelicato and into the outside wall. It just depends on how it works out for you. Right now, some drivers are able to make it work, but it is a hold your breath situation anytime it happens. And as you can tell, drivers don't want to do it too long as they quickly try to get out of the middle lane as soon as they're able to. But it is an easy way to try to make up some positions if it works out into your favor. A lot of that determines on how much of a backup or a stack up each lane has to be able to make those passes work.
You mentioned when I asked you earlier about who was 3 wide, your first answer, he is 3 wide. Chad Frankenfield is currently the car trying to make the middle work back there in about 28th position right now. Aside from Goodman, Vandermarl right there, and Chad's going backwards right now. That 15 not.
Yeah, Chad will do that. See, some of these guys know to make that 3 wide work where it's very quick and very easy, and it's going to work out. Chad just likes to just put it 3 wide for the fun of it. I think he doesn't really ever make it work, but it just annoys you because that's what Racimus right there is thinking. Why are you still trying to make the 3 wide work? It's not working for you. Get off my door. But that's just Chad. That's his racing style.
Yeah, it is. And Jesse still hasn't listened to the broadcast. We've got to get somebody to talk to the driver of that 70 car, see if he'll change that paint scheme yet. Hasn't been involved in anything tonight. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, but he's racing with Chad right now, so could be inevitable.
Yeah. I don't know if he's affected the monster sales or anything. He's definitely torn up some monster cars and definitely needs to try something a little different.
Back up front, Scott Crump, David Tooker have been dicing for the lead. I've kept my eye on them, but they've been pretty nondescript until just now when Scott Crump clears David Tooker and moves up the racetrack. And I imagine once the David Tooker and teammate R.C. Anderson pull by the bottom lane there, they'll cut to the bottom and try to take the lead back from Scott Crump. He's in control of this race. Crump doesn't have any teammates. Tooker and Anderson nose to tail together. They can move and work together, and I think that's more powerful than just Scott Crump by himself.
Yeah, it's kind of like water and olive oil. The difference between Lake Norman and Pro Edge. They do not mix very well. They will absolutely try to find whatever way they can to try to put the other one on the back foot. And I don't think David Tooker is going to stay behind Scott Crump for too long. He's going to probably try to figure out a way to get around him to his own benefit.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Right
That's
there.
it. Tooker's there.
Tooker's going to go to the outside. I don't know why Scott Crump still tries to make those middle lane moves work, but it's going to affect him right now.
And that's going to send Jonathan Cutlip to the lead up front. And after Weeks will clear by, Ethan Stanley backed off, let his teammate in, but that stacked the field behind. Now William White is 3 wide.
Yeah, it's kind of a situation. You don't want to be 3 wide, but you definitely want to try to force the guy down the middle lane because, again, if he's not prepared for it, he will fall, trying to fall down that middle lane. We need to have a name for it. It can't just be the middle lane. Maybe like the trash chute. Should we call it the trash chute?
Darren Walter used to call it the sucker boat. That might get us demonetized. So we can go trash chute.
Yeah, trash chute sounds good. So down the trash chute, William White goes.
Yep, and up front, Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip side by side, but it's going to be Matthew Weeks, and look who's right behind him. Yep, and that's bonus point for Matthew Weeks, but Trey Holmes right behind Matthew Weeks, giving him a shove. Ethan Burrell shoving Jonathan Cutlip at the top lane. Trey Holmes needs a good run tonight. He's 1 point out on that points bubble. He's a guy who's been pretty consistent this year. Definitely been caught up in some stuff, and he's got to catch Matthew Weeks' rear bumper wrong a little bit there in turn 2, but they're still straight. Everybody's all right.
If I'm Trey Holmes or one of those guys right on the bubble, try to get a lap led and then just try to find somewhere safe to hide until the end to where you could be able to make something happen there. But yeah, right there, we're seeing a ton of different leaders so far. I'd love to see how many lead changes we've had. It has to be getting closer to that double digit here, as now this time around it will be Jonathan Cutler leading that lap. So another driver change at the front of the field for leading this lap.
And I will say, Trey's worked his way up to that 3rd spot. I wonder if that's the safest place in the race. Right? I mean, 3rd place up at the front of the field in this pack. He's going to be able to move up in front of Cutlip here. I'd probably just chill, right? If you're Trey, try to go up here and lead. Try to stay at the front of the field. You might stay in front of all the wrecks.
To be honest, I don't know if there is a safe spot on the racetrack. Maybe pit road, and I don't even know then.
Maybe pit road, yeah. Justin Fortner's got the same plan. So does Michael Hosack and Hunter Smith. All of those guys in a line behind Trey Holmes right there are guys eligible to make the playoffs should they win a race and kind of be in that right top 25 spot. So it's very important for those guys to run well and run at the front of the field, and they're in a spot where they're at the front, right? If a big wreck happens behind them, it might take out a bunch of their competition, and they can, go for it at the end of the race.
I think there was just a deep breath from all these drivers, because now all of a sudden we're seeing a little bit more calmness from these drivers as they're trying to maybe set up for craziness. Oh, well, I said that, and then here comes
here comes Sonny D.
Andrew Rucker forcing his way 3 wide down the middle.
Of course it is, right?
He made it work, though, and he's going to get right behind Tyler Fody. Tyler Fody's going to put a little bit of a block on the Sonny D car, make sure that he doesn't break up that Lake Norman 3-car tandem right there in the middle of the pack. That's something that we're going to have to see. I do think that our next big 3-wide run that's going to be coming up is going to be that Scott Crump car that we've seen make that middle lane work. He's definitely going to try to see if he can make it work again here.
I will tell you, I think that Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fody are currently running about half to 3/4 throttle, trying to save as much fuel as they can all the way around this big racetrack. Those two are lagged way off the car in front. You can't even see Fody in the shot right here because he's leaving such a big gap back into Ethan Stanley. I think that's what checked up Kyle Hanshaw, Josh Clark, and those guys behind and allowed Andrew Rucker to make that 3-wide move. Josh Robbins now trying to take advantage of it because Fody's lagging off so much, trying to save some fuel right here.
He should have probably around 13 more laps left of fuel. But yeah, they're definitely looking at the fuel gauge go down, and maybe a little bit of worry starting to set in.
Yeah, they did not get that quick caution that they were hoping for, and I think they can go 35 to 40 laps. But I mean, that's, like we said, that they're going to be pitting Josh Adams, Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fody. They're going to pit by themselves probably, and they will be going much slower than this big pack, and it would be pretty disastrous if this thing goes green until they run out of fuel next year.
Well, the real sad thing for Tyler Fody is he made that strategy. I don't think he ever led a lap. So his rival there, Matthew Weeks, out front leading laps here and getting that bonus point, while he made this strategy call, now has fuel problems and has yet to lead the lap to get that bonus point.
Right, they pushed to the front, but Fody never led a lap. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's one of those things where that could be big later on, right? Tyler Fody obviously locked into the playoffs. Ethan Stanley locked into the playoffs. Josh Adams not running for points. So ultimately, the impact is pretty minimal for those guys. But they're going to have 10 or so laps where they won't be with the pack, and it'll throw them way off the back, and it'll require a timely caution to catch them back up. And they certainly won't be out of the race by any means, presuming they don't go a lap down. But it puts them in a really tough spot if they didn't get that quick caution, which they did not.
Caution's not out of the realm of possibilities here. We still have all 43 cars within 3.5 seconds of the lead here. So still really good battle. Even those drivers that were involved in that wreck earlier on still able to hold up in that draft and be able to run around here under speed that is keeping them in this main draft. So yeah, there's still a ton of potential for a lot of these drivers. We've seen it. These cars are super tanky. It's going to be, I believe, pretty hard wreck to actually take someone completely out of the race if it's based off of what wrecks we've seen so far this season.
Right. I think these cars, especially at Daytona, if they are behind another car, they can stay in the draft and they can stay sucked up right to the back bumper. It's currently being shown. Nicky Delicato's got teammate Seth Rawls with him back there in the field a little bit, 38th spot. And no front bumper on that 10 car, but he's able to stay in the pack. He's able to suck to the back bumper of Seth Rawls' car. And to finish this race in the top 5, that's all you need.
That's all you need. That is for sure. Still great battling up front here as Matthew Weeks still trying to get that bottom lane clear of that outside lane. Going to get a really good shove from the 88 of Holmes there. Again, if you're looking at the ticker and wondering what the color codes are, the drivers in green are locked into the playoffs. Again, this is the last race of the regular season. Drivers in yellow have not locked themselves in. Those are the ones that are I believe right outside the cutoff zone. And the drivers in blue are currently in, but not locked in at the moment. So those are what the color codes are right now. So again, drivers that are looking to try to see if they can get their way in are the drivers in yellow. Some of them have a better shot to point their way in than others, but a lot of strategy being played out. A lot of drivers are going to have to keep an eye on here. But let's go ahead while this is going on here, because we don't know when the next caution or green flag pit stops are going to take place. Let's go ahead and do a commercial break if we can right now.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Worldwide Technology Raceway on June 1st and 2nd, 2024. The time to get your tickets is now. For only $10 down, you can lock in your seats for an incredible weekend of family fun, featuring the Enjoy Illinois 300 and the Confluence Music Festival. Racing, music, camping, it all adds up to one amazing party. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest tickets.
And we're back, lap 36, able to go side by side to see everything that's going on live and be able to thank all of our sponsors that allow us to be able to put on these broadcasts for these drivers.
There it is.
And Andrew Rucker, we thought it was going to happen. Andrew Rucker gets into contact. I think that was with Hibbs. Gavin Hibbs involved.
No caution. We're still green.
It happened off the racetrack. We called it out.
Yep, we knew it was coming. Much to the chagrin of Tyler Fode, Ethan Stanley, and Josh Adams. Those guys needed a caution. They finally get an incident on track. It's a two-car spin to the inside. Those guys end up not wrecked on the racetrack, and we stay green because we sit on iRacing's judgment. iRacing's judgment says no caution. We're about ready for Lake Norman and Josh Adams to come down pit road. Those guys have all worked their way to the bottom of the racetrack now, but they might have a friend back there in Gavin Hibbs. And maybe
Gavin
Andrew
Hibbs is going to be, he's going to be really far back. I think Gavin Hibbs came down pit road. He did. So Gavin Hibbs is going to be way a lap down. I think Rucker is still on the racetrack here. But there, like you said, I think Lake Norman is going to be coming probably down pit road here shortly.
Oh, Chris Wright in the wall.
Oh no! How are they going to get hit by him? Oh man!
Oh, still in the wall. It's Chris Wright.
Still in the wall.
RC's now 3 wide with his teammate. Not what you want. Into the trash chute goes David Tooker.
The 36 is what really got the 9 out of shape there, giving him some really hard hits there. Garrison Hogan did. Got him all out of whack, and that kind of pushed R.C. Anderson to have to make that move on his teammate because he had such a run. So that's a little scary. These drivers were ready to go more than others were able to, and luckily enough, we were able to keep it going. But that was a close one. That one could have been a lot worse.
Yep, and Wright still trying to make moves to the outside. He drops to the outside of another Pro Edge car, and he'll take R.C. Anderson 3 wide. He's got a big push from Garrison Hogan. So Chris Wright and Hogan really making that outside line work. Wright's going to have to back off. Now back into third is that 9 car with the help of Garrison Hogan. Jesse Racimans is following through.
Yeah, I believe right behind him, trying to keep up with him, was Clark in the 28. He got into the outside wall, lost a few positions from that. But every time Chris Wright made that move, it made more drivers really give him a pinch into the outside wall, not giving a lot of room. They don't appreciate a driver forcing their way into the outside position of them. So I don't think he's going to be able to make that move on Ethan Burrell. I think Ethan Burrell is well aware of Chris Wright making that move so far, and he's going to probably be blocking that potential pass on the outside.
Yeah, I think now that you're up here into the top 2, you got to hold that outside wall, not let Chris Wright do that. You've seen it happen. Your teammates, well, not teammates, I guess for Ethan Burrell anymore, but you've seen it happen to the close cars behind you. I think Burrell knows he needs to protect the top when that 9 car's behind. Chris Wright showing the bravery to go after that move to the outside.
R.C. Anderson now trying to look to see if he can make the trash chute work. It's not working. They did not have the run, and I think he's going to be left out to dry there. So far it looks like it's still but he's not getting anyone to work with him.
And there goes Josh Adams down pit road. And Adams did not get the Lake Norman guys to go with him.
You would have thought they would have tried to work together a little bit there. They're going to be not in the best position here. And I think Gavin Hibbs did call it a night.
They did talk it over on the radio, but Adams had less fuel than him.
Those two had been saving, right? They had been backing off, and I wonder if Crump and maybe Robin will come down. I guess Robin's in the top lane, so he won't come, but maybe Crump will come down with him and try and, pull a strategy or something where, they can maybe run a little bit faster lap times with 3 cars in the pack instead of 2, given that Crump's already locked in. His finish doesn't really matter all that much, but also, it's Scott Crump. He wants to go out and win this race, and staying in the lead pack's the way to do that.
What lap did that caution come out?
11.
So I don't think any driver can make it on just one more fuel stop. So all drivers do have to make an additional fuel stop. So at least 2 have to be done tonight, or actually 2 additional from here on out.
Yeah, even for those Lake Norman guys, right? And I think you can only go about 40 laps. I think those guys are trying to stretch it as much as they can, but RC's the one up here that's making the moves in the middle with teammate David Tooker. We got our eyes back here on these Lake Norman guys, seeing when they might pit. It might not matter if these guys wreck. They actually have to come down pit road. I know that's what the Lake Norman guys are hoping for.
Yeah, they're wishing for it, but their hope's about to run out. I do think they're going to have to be probably coming down here in the next lap or 2. Here comes the driver for the middle. It looks like Chris Wright able to jump down to the bottom lane now. It's going to be jumping right in front of Matthew Weeks, trying to go for the lead as they are coming up on a lap car. That is Adams going a lap down from his fuel stop.
That is, that was a bold move by Chris Wright. Now he'll have the push of Matthew Weeks. And that 9 car is going to drive up towards the race lead right here. Unless Cutliff throws a block, it might be Chris Wright leading this time by. Big push from Weeks. Right to the top of the racetrack.
It's going to be a new driver leading this lap. It's going to be Chris Wright.
Look at that. That was a power move by Chris Wright. Up to the top in front of Jonathan Cutliff. He came from about 15th or so in order here. He made those moves up to the top of the racetrack, did Chris Wright, and he's finally gotten to the lead. And we haven't seen it since 27. Chris Wright up front in these races.
Oh boy, keep an eye on Cutliff, or not Cutliff, but
Clark.
28 there of Clark. Yep. He is getting a hard shove from the 50 of RC Anderson, trying to get around the lap car there of Adams. Adams had that outside lane, kind of forced guys to try to make the middle lane work. And Clark is still trying to see if he can get going here with pushes from RC Anderson.
Trying to get through the trash chute is Josh Clark. And you know Tyler Fody and Ethan Stanley are out here on fumes saying, guys, come on, you're all 3 wide. Lose it, somebody.
Yeah, there's a lot of moves being made here.
If they come around boy. Rucker, they're going to be 3 wide going around Rucker right here too.
Almost 4 wide. Able to make it work though. And Rucker wisely just held the bottom lane there.
Got Michael Hosack, Ty McIntosh, Hunter Smith all caught up behind him. That might split this field up a little bit with Rucker now getting kind of absorbed. They're 3 wide. Hosack contact with Smith.
Oh boy. That could have ended very badly there.
You see the 92 and the 40 still lagging off. Those guys are still saving fuel. I just don't know how much longer they can go.
They're gonna have. I can't believe they've made it this far, to be honest.
I know. This is a 45 lap run by those two. If they can go a couple more laps, man. I mean, they can make it on one more stop, maybe.
There's so many very, very bad lined up pushes going on at the front here. People are pushing on each other, not directly into the back bumper, and it's sending people sideways.
Rucker just hitting Delicato sideways back here behind this group up front. This group has a big gap back because Delicato's leading, and this is checking everybody up.
Oh no, Matthew Weeks almost went around there. They need to get around Nick and Delicato. I don't know why they would force the guy without a bumper to lead the lane there, but that is not going to work out for them. Oh, Andrew Rucker. Oh, Scott Crump almost gave himself a caution he needed.
Yep, up front. Oh, here come the Lake Norman guys. They did not save enough.
Oh,
Goody goes to the apron.
I don't know what Goody's doing there. Goody said, and what yellow line?
Yeah, well, I'm willing to bet Goody will give that one back and avoid any sort of penalty. But yeah, Josh Adams has technically cleared to the lead. Matthew Weeks to second. Josh Clark to second. Matthew Weeks now the leader, but they're behind Josh Adams, the lapped car up front. Here's Spody and Stanley on pit road. They are hoping that everybody else is going to come down pit road pretty soon.
They did make it quite a bit of distance. That does lead me to believe that maybe, just maybe, there's going to be some cars that are able to make a one stop on fuel happen if we go green flag.
Some of these guys back here that have been, maybe if they've been saving from the start of that, from the rip of the restart, Johnny Thomas, Robert Hill, Nick Massey, Seth Rawls, if those guys have been saving their fuel, I think they can probably make it the rest of the way on one more stop. Definitely not these guys up here that have been racing for the lead.
No, but there's a now big gapping between the drivers up front. Oh, they're not. Wow, there's some drivers really trying to get into the bottom lane there. But yeah, the drivers back further in the field have probably been saving. The ones that we haven't been talking about are the ones that are hoping for a long green flag run at this point.
Yeah, those guys in the back of the field haven't been racing super hard, but they have been saving their fuel, hopefully. And if so, this race might come down to a fuel mileage race. I mean, I highly doubt we're going caution-free from lap 11 to lap 100. But, you know, it's certainly going that way. Chad get knocked out of line there?
Did he get loose, or did yeah, he must have got knocked.
Okay, Leighton Norgard would be the car to run into him here. No?
No.
He had a fuel?
What? No, he's...
Is the monitor shut off?
I don't know.
He's out. He's out of the server. Chad loses connection.
Well, let's
Is he locked
restart
in?
the lobby.
Is Chad locked in?
Yeah, he's locked in.
He's locked in. Okay.
Yeah, he's locked in. He didn't have anything to worry about for himself, which is very, very lucky for him. Right now, the last guy on the lead lap is the one that's leading this pack here. The number 1 able to get himself back up front, so he is really hoping for a caution to be able to come out now, so he can be able to have a shot to be able to get back on the same strategy as the rest of the field here. But right now, Adams leading the field, Matthew Weeks leading the race. And that's really good for Matthew Weeks as his, again, competitor to go up for the regular season standings has pitted and on a bad strategy right now. So this is exactly what Matthew Weeks needed to be able to try to lock up this regular season.
Weeks
And they are coming to the stage point here, I believe.
They are, yeah. Weeks is going to pick up another stage point, a playoff point here at the halfway mark. Not even a battle for it. Clark didn't go for it. Wright drove him to the bottom, but, I mean, there wasn't really a challenge. Matthew Weeks teamwork behind, and Wright did not have a chance to get there with Trey Holmes pushing. So, Wright to the lead now, but Weeks definitely saving some fuel. I think he's trying to make sure he can make it on one more stop.
It's gonna be very difficult, I think, for any of those guys that have been leading at the front of the field to make it on one more pit stop. I think they would have had to been saving from the beginning, kind of like what Tyler Fody and Ethan Stanley did. Once they realized that it was going green flag for a little bit, they were able to save some. But I think if you were to make it on one pit stop, you'd have to have been saving a ton.
Right, and I think those guys in the back of the field are. Ethan Burrell to the bottom. R.C. Anderson's worked his way to the bottom. Josh Clark's worked his way to the bottom. I think it might be time for green flag pit stops, which is music to the ears of those Lake Norman guys if they can maybe, have enough speed to get into this group. And also, I don't think there's any way this group can go 48 laps while racing. So, they really, the Lake Norman guys who are going to be up here in front of the leaders have got to be hoping for pit stops to be coming this lap.
I don't think it's going to be this lap. I think there's maybe a few, but we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting to see. There's a lot of strategy being played out at Daytona here tonight, folks. As they're right now making some passes on some lap cars. Yeah, a lot of Pro Edge. Yeah.
All of Pro Edge. The two Lake Norman guys that are still here, Gable and Robin. Crump stayed out, but his teammates came down pit road this time. A bunch of those guys who are orange on the scoring pylon there. Hunter Smith, Jesse Racimus, they've stayed out. They've got another lap.
Chad's back.
Also, Chad's back. Chris Wright up here continues. Up here, Chris Wright continues to lead over Trey Holmes, despite what the scoring pylon says. I don't think Wadsworth's actually the leader. Kyle Hanshaw's up here in 4th right now in the lead group, so that's a pretty impressive run. Here comes Holmes, Cutlip, and Racimus from the lead group. And yeah, I mean, this is just what those Lake Norman guys needed. They got a little draft from the front pack. Now they're going to be able to hopefully make it run and be able to keep up into the group that just came off pit road here. So anybody else staying out that's saving? Scott Crump's leading a group that's probably saving. It includes Hunter Smith, Ty McIntosh, Jordan Owens, Josh Personette, William White, Johnny Thomas. He's probably saving.
I think Chris Wright's in a really good position. He's picking up draft on some slower cars, and I think he's going to be able to keep some really good speed here. So I think he will.
Yeah, Wright
they're both doing a really good job. They're going to come down pit road. We'll see what kind of advantage they were able to pick up from that.
Yeah, let's see. In Hanshaw, Chad posted the average finish of everybody in the lead in this Cup Series, and Kyle Hanshaw was number 1 in average finish in the Elite Cup Series. Which Hanshaw struggles a time or two at some of these other tracks, but that guy can get around Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah, that sounds like the guy you would want to try to make sure that you're drafting with, because he's able to somehow avoid all the wrecks. And some of it is a lot of talent, a lot of it is a lot of luck too when you come to these tracks. So might want to find yourself somewhere around that 46 car here tonight.
Yeah, you definitely do, and I think that's what Chris Wright's done. Nick Massey has now done that. Let's see, here comes the Scott Crump, Hunter Smith, Ty McIntosh, Dusty Dewar group. I think it's just Ty McIntosh, actually. Dewar's already down. Blake Norgard in this group, Andrew Hardcastle in this group, Robert Hill. Everybody's now pitted. I think this group can definitely make it.
I think so. That's what I was just about to say. Is I think they were able to save just enough to be able to make it from here. So I think that's going to be the group if we have a green flag run to the end. That's going to be contending for this win.
I think you're right. And, I also highly doubt our capability to make that happen. And
I've
Chris
seen
Wright
stranger
does come out. Yeah, that's true. Chris Wright does come out behind this first group, so David Tooker will be the de facto leader once everything cycles through. Field's really split up from here. You'll see Tooker flashed by Scott Crump. That will be the battle for the lead, but it'll be very short. This was like the first group, the big group that came onto pit road. They've got a small gap back to Chris Wright's group with Ethan Burrell, Josh Clark, Josh Robin, and then it's a more sizable gap back to Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fody. But they are in this pack. Are those late Norman cars, so staying out does not cause them to lose the draft and therefore lose a lap. They are going to be in this group, which I think was their goal from saving all that fuel.
It has definitely changed things up here tonight. A lot of different strategies, a lot of different things playing out. Now we have a completely different looking group at the front of this. Right now, it looks like
battling.
Yeah, Chris
Here
Wright
they
back to his same old games, trying to see if he can jump to the outside of people and try to see if he can make the 3 wide work. I don't know if it's going to work this time for him.
Well, it is. He's going to get around Ryan Schuld, who is one of those guys who needs a really good points run today in order to get into the playoffs, and he's probably currently in. With Seth Rawls being further back right now, I think Schuld is probably in, but Trey Holmes is the race leader until Justin Fortner took it over. Now Fortner's the race leader. So, the battle now is between Fortner and Holmes, and R.C. Anderson's now going up here for the lead as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna love looking back and seeing how many lead changes we've had and how many different leaders we've had, because now R.C. Anderson finds himself at the front of the field here. A good mix-up of different types of drivers out in front of this field here. Matthew Weeks going to be right behind him, having a really good run. He is right where he needs to be, and he has no problem helping his teammate there to be able to try to get out front here and lead as many laps.
No, yeah, Weeks is definitely going to ride in behind Anderson, so it's going to be all about whether Holmes and Hogan are wanting to go down to the bottom of the racetrack and try to take this lead back, but I have a feeling they'll be content to ride for now, and it's really just important. He's going to have to work his way from to the bottom and try to get up alongside R.C. Anderson and take that lead over for now, but it's worth noting that Tyler Fody and Ethan Stanley have worked their way to the front of the second pack, and they are catching this lead pack. They have a single file about 10 cars deep, so that second group is coming. They're under 2 seconds now.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the different groups that we had racing on track. This is the front group of 13 drivers. Right behind them, already in frame, they ran the bottom lane, which seems to have worked better in their favor than the high lane that the leaders were doing, and they have already caught up. It's now one pack again already. That was very fast.
They got a little bit of a draft now, but Stanley's going to have a huge run. He's probably going to have to take it to the middle, and there's not going to be anywhere to go because there's going to be cars up top, and as soon as he gets into the turbulent air of this pack, it's going to be very difficult for Stanley to keep this run up and try to actually use it to move forward here. He's going to go to the outside, but I think he's got to go to the middle, and as soon as they start fanning out, it's going to kill the run off of this pack general.
It's already killed. It's already evened up now. There's nowhere for them to go. It would have been a little crazy if he would have tried to make that work with that big of a speed difference, and luckily for them, they did not try to make that work. So already back to 2-file lane now, all the way back. I believe that made the group now from 13 people to 30 people. So that's quite a big pickup of cars to make it one group again.
The two guys been a green flag the whole way, though. It's going to be tough to pull an interview there, but Jordan Owens, Kyle Hanshaw did fall off of this lead pack. So they'll be at risk of going a lap down, as will a group with Josh Adams, Michael Goodman, Richie Hearn, Jesse Racimus, Robert Hill, that are now 9 seconds off the lead pack. They're also at risk, and Justin Vandermarle and Justin Wadsworth also going to be at risk of going a lap down.
Yeah, there's really only 2 cars at risk of going a lap down. That's going to be Justin Vandermeerl and Justin Wadsworth back there. Right now, we have 37 cars on the lead lap. Brent Jones is a lap down, Nick Indelicato, Andrew Rucker, Casey Hatch, and Chad Frankenfield back on the racetrack 3 laps down. So still 42 cars still racing on the racetrack, as right now our lead pack here is still getting quite hectic, as we got that bottom lane starting to form back up. It looks like our pole sitter trying to make a run back up at the front of the field here again.
You see that side draft going on between Cutlip and Hogan. They've dropped down. They pull that bottom car back, and that's kind of the power that outside lane gives you. If you have the space and the wherewithal to reach down and slow that inside lane down, you can hold them back for a corner or two, but it's not mattering right now. Josh Robin with a really good push to the back bumper of pole sitter Justin Fortner, able to shoot him up to side by side with Matthew Weeks for second.
That gained him three car lengths on that bottom lane just by that push. Oh, we have a caution. That's going to change things. We have a caution on track.
There it is, Justin
Wadsworth.
We just mentioned that Wadsworth might go a lap down.
Yeah, his car's destroyed.
Now we can.
No.
Looky there. Oh, there's a checkup in front of him. And Delicato was the one they ran up on, and they checked up. And
that's 2 people you don't want to be stuck in between.
Sonny D. Oh no.
Sonny D involved.
Sonny D and Wadsworth. Wadsworth, the ARCA Series champion.
Probably be on Chad Frankenfield, to be honest with you, because there's a checkup, and he was off his bumper. He was off his bumper and came back to his bumper.
I think this is a case. Chad gave him another bump there and then stuck it underneath. I think some brake usage there may have avoided that incident.
Brake usage?
Maybe not for Chad. Let's talk to another victim of Daytona real quick while we have an opportunity, and then we'll go quickly.
He's going to be happy who was involved in that wreck, though. That's going to be Gavin Hibbs.
Yeah, Gavin, it's David up in the booth. Take us through what happened. Looks like he got cleaned out by old Sonny D there on the back straightaway earlier on.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate situation there. I went back and looked at it. He was getting an aggressive push from behind, so can't really fault him for that. But it's just unfortunate. Just my plan was simple: just stay out of trouble as best I could, help my teammates out, get Seth and Ty in the playoffs. But people pushing and being so aggressive on lap 36 of a 100 lap race is just no words.
And any shout outs here before we send you off?
Yeah, my teammates at Shift Esports. Like I said, I was just trying to help Seth and Ty get in the playoffs. His Design's my sponsor, my company. Numbers by Joe, and my parent team, Strict Stock Motorsports.
Well, we do appreciate you getting in here. I don't think you hit the outside wall. You hit the inside wall, so different part of the racetrack this time. So hopefully we'll see you back out in the front of this. You've had good runs so far this season. There's still plenty of time to be able to try to knock that first win of the season for your team here.
Yep. Just hope we don't have as bad luck as we have tonight.
That was Gavin Hibbs, our driver. First one out of the race. Driver finishing 43rd here tonight. And the only driver that's out of the race, but I think he's going to have someone joining him. I don't know if Justin Wadsworth is going to be able to get that damage fixed.
Well, we'd mentioned how tanky these cars are. Wadsworth's certainly sitting on pit road trying to fix it up, but how big was this caution for the Lake Norman guys, right? Tyler Fody, Ethan Stanley. How big was this caution for some of these other guys that could definitely have made it, or could definitely not have made it on one more stop there? So, this re-racks things. Everybody can make it from here on this full tank of fuel, and I think it's now go time. It's going to be time for these guys to get aggressive.
Shall we pay some more bills?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, tonight our series sponsor, of course, is Belly Up Sports. Belly Up is the internet sports bar, sports commentary via podcasts, forums, and articles on topics ranging to nearly every sport. Not your usual sports site, check them out on X or bellyupsports.com. Our race sponsor tonight is Black Magic Designs. Blackmagic Designs is a small team of custom iRacing car painters, and photographers dedicated to a quality customer experience with paint starting as low as $15 per car. Find us on Facebook or Discord, Blackmagic Designs, where the paint is worth 2/10. Our premier sponsors, Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Marketing has a new read tonight, so this is first time on this, so we'll see how we do. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to big win. Worldwide Technology Raceway is our other premier sponsor. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It features a 1.25-mile track that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series. It has a 2-mile infield road course used by Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America, a quarter-mile NHRH drag strip that hosts the Midwest Nationals event, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. That's the sponsors for tonight, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to our race sponsor and to Belly Up for being the series sponsor. We got a good race here so far tonight. We saw a little bit of green flag pit stops, a little bit of strategy, a little bit more strategy being played out with Scott Crump being, I think, the only driver to stay out. Going to try to risk it for the track position here. Going to get himself back out front. A lot of good racing here as the pace car lights are off. We're going to be going back green with less than 40 laps left to go. I think business is about to pick up. Wouldn't you say, David?
I think it's go time, right? And I think that what we've seen so far, we've seen some aggressive moves, but nothing's been out of control. We're going to see a lot more aggression, and I think it's going to go wildly out of control rather quickly here after this restart.
If you think you have control, you're probably going to be wrecked here, because you're not going to be in control here. It's going to be the guy that's probably 5 cars behind you that's in control of your destiny. And it depends on what kind of moves he makes. So we'll see how that all plays out here. Again, a lot of mix-ups of colors up into that top 10, which is what we love to see. Drivers locked in, drivers not having anything to worry about, and drivers that have everything to worry about. Pace car is going to be coming down pit road now. Going to go back green here. Scott Crump leading that outside lane, be able to get going with Trey Holmes right behind him.
Trey Holmes still up here in this top 5 or 6 cars. I mean, he's a guy who needs a win or needs a really strong points run, and he's done everything in his power, which is run up at the front of this field, and Matthew Weeks drops in behind, Garrison Hogan in behind. Robin jumped up to the top of the racetrack as well, but Robin's off my screen. That 8 car is getting shuffled out by this group on the bottom.
Yeah, I think he's realizing it too and dropping to the back of the field. But here comes Trey Holmes now jumping to the bottom with Matthew Weeks. Both these drivers have been working well together. They're going to work well together again. Able to get that bottom lane going with heavy bumps from Matthew Weeks. Going to put that 88 car now out in front of the field here.
Huge move by Trey Holmes to grab the lead, but here comes Weeks to the top of the racetrack. Crump doesn't like that. Crump to the middle.
Into the trash chute. Is he going to have help behind him? He is. Here comes the 36. Not enough to really make anything happen there. He's going to lose a position to RC Anderson.
Dropped the pole sitter and Ryan Gables in the middle of the racetrack in that trash chute, like you mentioned. Took her up top. Stanley up top. 3 wide in the mid-pack. All of them are chasing Trey Holmes right now.
Yeah, they got into that trash chute, and then they got shot down the hole in the back of the pack there. So, yeah, a lot of... Well, look at that. Look who's up there. We got Goody coming into the battle in there, as well as the 73. The driver involved in the first wreck, able to get back up into this battle for the front position.
Yep. And I think there's pretty clearly a division strategy right now, right? From about Goody on back, everybody else is kind of hoping for them to wad this first pack up. Up front, it's a battle between guys on the orange numbers. Ryan Schold has taken the race lead. Chris Wright pushing him up there, right in front of Trey Holmes. Now Wright's going to jump to the top of the racetrack and leave Ethan Burrell pushing, but Burrell will abandon the bottom lane. And that's going to set, I think, teammates up there. I think it's Gunnar Smith and Ryan Schold now linked up on the bottom lane for Little Eagle.
I don't think they mind that at all. That's going to allow teammates to be able to work together. You know that they're going to try to see if they can make that bottom lane surge back up to the front here. Chris Wright's leading that outside lane. We've seen the aggression he's had tonight. He's made it well known that he has one thing in mind, and that's being in the front of the field, leading that lap there in front of Ethan Burrell as they reach lap 70. 30 laps left to go in this race. It is still anybody's race at this point.
Ethan Burrell, a massive push to the back bumper of Chris Wright. Shot that 9 car way out in the front, and they're now going to check the outside lane up right here, I think. And yeah, here comes Matthew Weeks to the middle of the racetrack. He might let off and get himself back in line up top. But that did back up that outside lane, but it just surged back forward with the push Ethan Burrell's able to give Chris Wright, and that's able to control that outside lane. Those two working well together right now.
Yeah, Weeks decided that the middle lane was not going. It does take a little bit of effort to be able to make that middle lane work. I think it has to be just the right circumstances to make that middle lane viable. It just depends on who's checking up, and boy, there's a lot of maneuvering going on. That outside lane has a big surge now as it looks like the first 5, almost 6 cars able to clear themselves of that bottom lane.
Yep. Hunter Smith not able to give the same push that Ethan Burrell is able to give Chris Wright. And right now that's the difference in these lanes. But Tyler Fody jumped to the top of the racetrack, and here come Pro Edge down to the bottom. Those Toyotas, they're not interested in sitting in behind these Chevrolets. Matthew Weeks wants to get back to the front. He's got help from Marcy Anderson.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of drivers starting to really push right now. You can feel the intensity. It's a static in the air. It's starting to pick up here at Daytona. They say Florida is the lightning state, and we're seeing it here. There's a lot of electricity going on as here comes Ethan Burrell to the bottom lane to take that position back at the front here, able to get around the first 2 drivers. Wow, look at the push they were able to get.
Big push from Trey Holmes to Ethan Burrell, but now a big run from Chris Wright, and Wright will cut to the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to have a push from Matthew Weeks now, and Chris Wright trying to lead the bottom lane. He will.
Oh boy, there's some hard pushing going on. They better have those bumpers on tight because they're using them up right now. Matthew Weeks on the back bumper. Almost looks like tandem drafting out there with how much they're able to get in front of the whole pack, but that does not help once they lose draft of each other because they fall back quickly. Here comes Burrell in the middle.
Chris Wright's going to get hung way up on the outside. That might be the end of Chris Wright right here. He's up top.
Way back now.
Oh.
Yeah, that was not what you wanted to do because he got such a surge up to the front of the field and then lost his drafting partner there, Matthew Weeks, and no one followed him, and he was off by probably about 10 miles per hour compared to the rest of the field, and he fell back now outside the top 10.
He's now going to have some help from Dusty Dewey and Josh Robin, 2 guys who are definitely aggressive on these plate tracks. And as the outside lane surges back up top, that'll allow Chris Wright to get up there. But Jerrison Hogan's going to block that run off, and that might be it. Chris Wright falls now to 13. He was leading last time through.
There's a lot of pushing going on. That middle lane's trying to get going there. I think they realize it's just not happening. They're trying to find any way they can be able to clear into one of the high lanes or the low lanes, whatever becomes most available. But it looks like David Tooker and Jesse Racimus are falling down that trash chute.
Yep, they are. And they don't want to be there, but here comes the Little Eagle Fords. Hunter Smith finally able to give a big shot to Ryan Scholl, and they will work to the lead here underneath Matthew Weeks. They're 3 wide in the back of the pack. Tooker still stuck in the middle lane, and Justin Fortner getting shuffled out behind.
Oh boy, that was a close situation. You don't ever want to see a car being forced below the yellow line and then forcing their way back up because there's usually never any room there. That almost ended up paying that situation. Big sack up in that middle pack there as they're still trying to figure it out for around the
Robin.
15th. Josh Robin.
Fortner.
Chad Frankenfield involved. William White heavily damaged from that. That happened right where I was stating it. It happened right there around the 18th position.
On my screen, Robin got sent around, wasn't even close to anybody. The net code was massive. And that is going to take out Justin Fortner, the pole sitter, who had a really strong day. led some laps, did everything right, but gets a little bit of a bad bump from Ryan Gable, and look at that
boy,
net code.
that's real bad net code. My
That's
goodness.
that's great Britain into a guy who's already struggled with blinking tonight.
Yeah, that's Great Britain into the potato man.
Yep.
So that's
And then
yeah.
right there. I mean, that's just White wasn't even next to him. Like he was behind him. And it still made contact and registered, and it sends Fortner up into Chad right here. I think it's just going to be these 4 involved. Oh, Racines is going to get into the 8 car.
Of course, Racines is. It's his season. It's how it's been.
Looks like a little bit of damage, contact between Hosack and
That could have been
Richie
a lot worse.
Hearn. But yeah, it certainly could have been. That was a little bit further back in the field.
I don't think any of them really made that hard of contact.
I think Fortner's going to have the most damage here.
Fortner, yes, but even I don't know.
Was it the wall or did he hit Chad? He hit Chad.
Oh, he hit Chad pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, I think Fortner's got the worst damage.
Fortner's probably going to be done.
Well, he's still driving it. No front bumper and all.
I only saw the 10 of Nick Indelicato be able to run for a while without a front bumper.
You could see the problem that did create, but like Indelicato was able to be competitive in the pack. Nowhere to go for Chad.
Oh, man. Well, that's gonna. Yeah, that's gonna. I'm surprised by this move. A bunch of guys coming down pit road. I'm not sure why.
It's all the group that's trying to plan for a big wreck at the front of the field. Yeah, might as well if you got a little damage. If you want to grab 4 fresh tires, might as well, right? It can only help you. You're already back there. You're not really giving up track position to do this. And you might have a little more grip when you need to hang on to the car driving through the grass later. Trying to avoid one of the big wrecks.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I think everyone has that feeling. It's not a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when. Because there's just, these cars are a little out of control and the bumping makes it a little worse and there's a lot of checkup. I don't know what the chance or what the percentage of would be of a big one, but it's probably almost it's enough to make even a weatherman have a good day. That's because it's almost a guarantee.
It is, yeah. You would think we're gonna wad them all up here at some point. Take a look on the onboard with David Tooker. Gable gives him the bump. We've seen Tooker get through some of these incidents this season. That's some good car control on a car that likes to snap around once it gets turned sideways.
Yeah, that was even lucky for Adams there for the Simply Racing Show podcast car, able to get through that. And Adams is going to be the gauntlet driver for the for the next podcast here. So he needs to have a good run here tonight to go into that gauntlet with his head held high, representing the show.
Yeah, he does. And that would be fun. And I want to note we're about to hit him here on the kind of race review. Ty McIntosh has had a really strong night there in the 35 car. He has been really clean.
You really want to jinx
all night. Well, you know, look, but Ty's done a good job. He's been up front all night, but we see a lot of those orange numbers in the top 10. Those guys, Ryan Schultz, Trey Holmes, Hunter Smith, Josh Clark, they are doing what they need to do. They are making the moves they need to make. And Leighton Norgard's right there too in the number 33 car. So, you know, the guys like Nick Massey, Jordan Owens, they are hanging out in the back. They're playing that strategy of avoid the wrecks and hope that it clears through and you're able to get there to the end of the race. But this group of 4 has been up front all night. They've been fighting hard for it. With Justin Fortner now probably out, that kind of opens up another spot near this bubble spot. And yeah, I think you know, I'd keep my eye on this group that have those orange numbers on the ticker.
Yeah, I was gonna let Ty McIntosh go without having to jinx him there, but I he's having a good night. I just don't agree with the Jeff Gordon paint scheme on a Ford.
That's fair. That's fair. On my screen, he's got a different paint scheme, but
nor do I
wanted to bring it back to
Hamlin paint scheme on a Chevy. It's just Some people need to start figuring out what manufacturer they're going to run with their paint schemes. Well, this is going to set up to a 22 lap run. Maybe to the green or maybe to the next green white checkered here, but we still have a ton of drivers on the lead lap, 38 cars. I'm gonna have to say it's go time. I don't think anybody's gonna be waiting at this point. It's too hard to make up a ton of spots, so in a quick amount of time. I think you're gonna have to try to, if you're one of those guys in the back, like maybe even the 91 there of Johnny Thomas there I see in the background. It might be a chance to try to get up there now.
If you're Johnny Thomasing it, you absolutely do not go yet.
No?
You wait. These guys are gonna wreck. You wait. That's my. If you're playing that strategy, I don't advise playing that strategy. It's no fun. Because if you do get wrecked, here comes Scott Crump, Tyler Fody. Yep, we mentioned it. Those are guys likely to take them 3 wide, and they did it right there on Josh Clark.
Oh boy, there's some blocking and maneuvers. David Tooker and Ethan Stanley are about to get into a shoving match here.
Chris right to the top. Josh Clark's going to be the one with the run. The guys that went to the middle of Fody, Crump, and Gable, they're going to go to the back here. They're in the trash chute.
They're in the trash chute. We've said it all night. The trash chute. You don't go in the trash chute if you can help it, and they are going to fall back.
Here comes Stanley.
That's going to, and Tooker. I don't know. Maybe they're trying. But I still think that outside lane is going to have the advantage.
Yeah, you gotta ride the top because it's just too important to be up there. But up front, I mean, Scholden and Hunter Smith, they're doing everything in their power, working together like teammates, trying to push to the front of the bottom. And if they can keep that track position up here at the front of the field, I think they're in a position where a big wreck is going to occur in this group where they're all 3 wide. And you want to stay in front of that right now. So Trey Holmes, Josh Clark, they are in the danger zone. But they're okay for now. It's Schultz, Smith, McIntosh, Norgard on the bottom. Those are the group that are kind of in the good spot.
The danger zone. We'll call it the wash zone at SeaWorld. You don't want to get there. You're going to get... you're going to have a bad time. You're going to get sprayed with some backwash here. It is starting to get dicey up here. Oh, boy.
Look at Goody. Look at Goody.
Trying.
Go Goody. He's going to get wrecked. You can feel it, right? That's the perfect spot. That's the perfect spot, man. How long until Goody gets spotted?
He's gonna get wrecked.
Oh, no, there they go. Come on. Fody to the bottom.
You were to the bottom. Tooker with a bad push there. That could have ended badly.
They saved it. They're okay. Stay in it, Goody. No, Cutlip and Stanley.
Man, Ethan Stanley pushing Cutlip there. Almost got him sideways. Oh, boy. They do realize there's still 20 laps left. Oh, no.
No, Cutlip got such a run. He almost was able to go to the outside. He almost went from 10th to 4th in one corner. Was from that run, that push from Ethan Stanley. Now Stanley's going to be pushing Ethan Morrell. It stacks back to Tooker there. 3 wide, 5 deep. We haven't seen this all night.
Yeah, this is when you start singing the Eminem songs. Your weak arms are heavy. There's a lot going on right now as drivers are trying to make any lane work. We're seeing a lot of pushing in that middle lane. I feel like if we're going to see the wreck, it's going to be...
Yep, there it was. Just as... They saved it.
Way
they
worse.
saved it. Oh, and there's more contact. But
35 involved in that one.
That's a 2-car wreck. McIntosh, Stanley, and Crump. That's it. Holy cow! How did that happen? That was from
That could have been way worse. How did that? How was that not worse?
The net code it from Tooker into Stanley, sends him into Clark. Clark comes down. Stanley gets turned sideways in front of the field. That's the caution. And then McIntosh sideways, slideways, up the track. He and Crump hit the wall.
You jinxed the 35. I'm going to just say it. You did that to the man. That was it. I mean, the worst contact was Scott Crump in the 35.
Let's get on board with some of these guys like Michael Goodman in the middle of the pack here that checked up.
Let's see the 35 here. Well,
yeah, let's go with the 35. He got on the apron trying to get around this because he saw a car sideways driving towards him right here. Right there. So Ty's on the brakes. Oh, he got hit by the 33. Look at that. And now he's out of control. Car's bobbling, and I don't think he was going to hit the wall till he got hit by the 90. But, at that point, you're a little bit out of control anyway. I want to see what Goody saw in this one. I want to see what Josh Adams saw in this one. Sideways. Goody on the brakes. Nobody hit him. They're still wrecking, and he's fine. Great work by Goody.
Yeah, the guy you said that was doing a really good job wrecked, and the guy you said that was going to get in a wreck did a really good job.
So that's what I need to do, obviously, is I need to say that they're going to get in a wreck. Then I can inverse jinx tie next time. But
Next time.
yeah. Josh Adams.
Let's do Josh Adams, and then I really want to be able to see one more time from the upper view the initial contact from the two that initially started, Ethan Stanley and the 37.
Adams got on the brakes as soon as he could, and man, from middle 3 to not wrecked.
Well, they're very
And
lucky
someone
that was even a caution, because if it wasn't a caution, they all checked up.
Yeah.
We would have had like a 6-car battle for the lead, because they would have been off to the races up front.
Right.
But let's see here, because I think Ethan Stanley went through Ethan Burrell's bumper.
It was Tooker who went it through Stanley's bumper.
Stop right there.
Oh.
Look how far, if you can go back just a little bit. Look, stop right there. Look how far Ethan Stanley's car is inside Ethan Burrell's car.
I don't know whose net code that is. Is that Stanley's
Ethan
net
Stanley,
code not
'cause look how far David
properly?
Tooker's in. Yeah. Unless if he's got a Mazda Miata, there's not.
Yeah.
He's got no car.
And Stanley, it's worth noting, did not pit. He's going to restart 12th. Yeah.
That's a transmission? Thought it was,
My goodness.
that was a concept art. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of something going on with Ethan Stanley's car, because it was not registering.
No, it wasn't. Had it been registering, I think the push from Tooker would have knocked him into Burrell, and they would have kept everything going straight. But as it were,
I think that's what initially caused the wreck. Was it just wasn't. Yeah, I mean, you see this. I mean, Tooker's trying to push, and it's not registering, and then when it does,
it yanks the 92 car to the right.
Yeah, it yanks
And
the
then
92.
The only reason this wasn't a huge wreck was that the 28 and the 4 weren't registering into the 92.
Yeah, the 92 just wasn't registering for a lot of cars. That's really odd.
Because if he comes down and clips the 4 as he should and puts the 28 in the wall, all 3 of those guys are completely junked, and it takes everybody out.
I mean, his ping and everything is fine.
That's
So
wild.
I'm not sure.
I think even Chris Wright goes through him here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's.
Oh, we should have onboarded Wright. Oh, yeah, he does. Look at that.
He just passed right through him. No damage at all.
That
For Chris Wright's benefit.
First time all year something benefited that 9 car.
Yeah. So that's interesting to note that we I mean, and he didn't even pit.
No, he didn't. He's still 12th.
I think I don't know. People are gonna need to be careful with try to draft around that 92 for a little bit.
I don't know that they know, unless they got the broadcast pulled up or something and are watching. I don't think that there's any way they could possibly know. But it's worth noting that these 2 Pro Edge cars of Weeks and Anderson have controlled the race since that caution during the green flag run. They have not relinquished the lead, even with all this battling and going crazy. They've managed to hold on to it.
Well, Matthew Weeks is a Daytona winner just this season.
This season.
I mean, he came in knowing what he had to do, because he's going up against Fody, which is also a very notorious super speedway winner, and Fody not having the race that he would probably want has not really been a factor for the win here tonight. I mean, it's been to Matthew Weeks, so Matthew knows that he can't let up now. He might as well just go for the win and get more bonus points here as they get to the restart line. Green flag is out. Now the question is who is Matthew Weeks going to want to work with? Is he going to want to work with R.C. Anderson? Yes, he is. I was wondering if he was going to keep working with the guy that has been working.
Guess who up top? Chris Wright. Yeah, no, those Pro Edge cars are not going to leave each other, I think, till last corner, basically. You can pencil that one in. Big run coming from the top lane. Who's going top?
Whoa,
Guess who? Chris Wright. top of the Ryan Schuld car, and that is not good news for Schuld. Into the trash chute goes the 4. He's going to be there with Robert Hill.
Yeah, Robert Hill, almost got into his teammate there, Schuld did. Yeah, so now, yeah, Goody's going to be able to get around there as well. Now, Dustin
Here comes
Lewis.
Chris Wright. Chris Wright, man, he has made the moves today. He has found a way to continually put people 3 wide. I have never seen guys just drop middle on corner exit and open it up for Chris Wright. Wright got into the wall there with RC Anderson. RC put Chris in the wall a little bit.
Until it gets to this point where the drivers are now looking in their mirror or they're looking out front, I think he does a really good job of being able to get people when they're not
Going
looking.
up again.
I said that.
He did it again.
No, he didn't. No.
He didn't have quite the push, but RC left it open.
He left it open.
Why aren't they running top?
Yeah, up against that wall, you would think.
Here comes Chris again. He's gonna get to the corner for RC again.
What's Matthew Weeks gonna do? He's gonna try to continue to help that middle lane.
He's gonna try, but he's got to block the 9. And there goes the stranglehold of Pro Edge on the lead. It'll now be Jonathan Cutliff out front, but Chris Wright has single-handedly broken up the Pro Edge monopoly on the race lead.
Again, why do they keep leaving it open for him?
I'll tell you, they're trying to side draft the bottom lane in the corner, but you can't do that unless the top lane is in line behind you doing the same thing, or it's not getting a run. But Ethan Stanley was right on the back bumper of Chris Wright. Chris has obviously not learned anything from the time he got shuffled with 19 because he got out of the lead.
It was these two that did it last time.
I know. Chris is very much of the mindset of see front, go fast, right? Like he does it at every racetrack, every time, right? He wants to go to the front, he wants to go fast, and sometimes it's to his detriment.
Let's give a shout out to Goody now entering into the top 10 on that outside lane there.
He's gonna wreck. He's gonna wreck.
He's absolutely gonna wreck here.
Yep.
Oh, poor Goody to his car.
It's a shame. It's already happened. Jonathan Cutler back to the bottom of the racetrack with Ethan Stanley there. 3 wide at Andrew Hardcastle, Ryan Schuld, and Nick Massey, who suddenly climbed his way up into the top 15.
Oh boy, coming down to the wire here. 12 laps left to go into this, and you know some of these guys are going to work their way up here.
Who's going to be the first one to start pulling that Chris Wright move? See, Chris is now running that bottom lane, trying to side draft the inside group. But it works until somebody does the Chris Wright and moves to the top of the racetrack.
You have to wonder if Chris Wright's going to continue to do that on Matthew Weeks. He's got Ethan Stanley right behind him. But again, Ethan Stanley's been having a little bit of connection issues, and it makes you wonder how well is that 92 able to do a push right now? Because you don't want to end up like last time with Ethan Burrell, where he drives through the car.
Right, you absolutely don't. But at the same time, Stanley was the one who pushed the 9 car up to this position in the first place. It's given a good enough push when it registers. It just needs to be registering the whole time.
Here
comes Wright to the top of the. Here comes Wright.
He made a quick move there. Weeks had no chance to be able to block that. Now Matthew Weeks is going to be stuck into that trash chute there. Going to fall all the way back.
Lead to Jonathan Cutliff. Help from Ethan Burrell. Chris Wright now leads the top lane. Does anybody try to go up front of this 9 car? Both of those Chevys at the bottom are going to go up front, and it'll be 2 more Pro Edge cars, and David Tucker and Josh Clark leading the bottom now.
Weeks went into turn 3 leading the race, and then out of turn 4 fell all the way back out of the top 20. That's how fast it can happen if you get stuck in that middle. So yeah, craziness still happening. I don't know if I would want to be Ethan Burrell right now. Chris Wright is going to try to make that maneuver on you, and you're kind of forced and stuck to have to just do one thing, and that's hold that outside lane up as high as you can.
And to go now this time by, and yeah, I mean, Ethan Burrell has to have learned, right? He's seen Chris Wright pull this move where he jumps to the outside. If you try to side draft those Pro Edge Toyotas when they get alongside, you will get shoved out by Chris Wright. That is a guarantee. Cutliff and Burrell do not side draft. They keep that top lane closed. Wright has nowhere to go, but it does allow those Pro Edge Toyotas to surge forward. Now David Tucker's going to be leading this race into turn 3.
And David Tucker's going to have to run on the bottom lane there, be able to get up side by side with the 5 there. That bottom lane having a really good surge right now. And I think a lot of it has to do is they're not able
here he
to
goes
as much as they want. Oh, here comes Chris Wright.
Again.
As soon as they decide to try to side draft to slow down that inside lanes, Chris Wright takes advantage of you.
Yeah, I know, and that's damaging the capabilities of this top lane, but at the same time, oh, big block from Tooker. That's going to allow Josh Clark to be the race leader on the bottom of the racetrack. It blocked up Goody. Goody's falling back now.
Oh, they're all pushing and shoving on the top side. That was really bad. That was a big checkup through the whole back of that field, as the drivers up front making the moves is what caused everyone else behind to have to react.
Now it's Pro Edge in both lanes leading each line. Cutlet pushing Tooker with Chris Wright not able to get to the back bumper of that 5 car, but they also don't drive down the racetrack and open the door for Chris Wright. So Wright's just kind of taking advantage of those guys driving down the racetrack. But
what kind of purgatory Chris Wright's in? Chris Wright makes a move, passes a guy on the outside, the inside lane gets a run, gets back up in front of him. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Chris
At
Wright
some point,
has to make the move, and then again the bottom lane clears up in front of him. Chris Wright just has an infinite amount of cars that he has to try to pass on the outside lane.
Yeah, and the problem for Chris Wright is he doesn't have any teammates up here, right? Ethan Stanley, Wright work well together, obviously, but Josh Adams is up here, but no Nick Massey, no Johnny Thomas. Chris Wright's all by himself up here, essentially fighting against the guys with just packs of teammates. Especially with these Pro Edge cars, the Lake Norman guys, and Stanley's gonna get underneath Wright.
Oh boy, that's gonna cause a lot of checkup there. Drivers trying to give each other room.
We're in Fody was where that checkup manifested. We're side by side. Slam draft between Adams and Trey Holmes. Gable to the top on the bottom.
That middle lane just is not working. People get shoved in the middle lane, and they just fall back. Even when they try to make it work, we got a wreck back there. We got 64 hitting. Oh, how is
track? He saved it.
No, he spun, but he's into the bottom lane there.
They're gonna wreck big here on the back straightaway, though. Huge push on the bottom into Smith. Huge push on the top into Goody.
Goody almost around there. That was very close.
Hogan is trying to get Goody clear of Adams. Clark up to the top in front of Goody. That's going to be a block. Goody's going to have to check. They're still 3x3, 5 rows deep, all behind David Tooker with 5 laps to go.
When is it going to happen? It's teeter-tottering. You feel it coming and you see it and you wonder when it's going to happen, but it's yet to happen. And that's that wreck that we're talking about. 5 laps to go, and all these drivers have one thing in mind: do everything you can to get past the guy in front of you.
And you look at the team cars that are together now. Gable is right behind Ethan Stanley up here in 4th and 5th. Those two will definitely be making a move. They're just waiting for the right time.
See, that bottom lane has completely died out. Now the whole thought process of the guys up in front
there's contact, but they're going to save it. Weeks pushed Massey sideways on corner exit right there. Trey Holmes now in the middle of the racetrack with Weeks. I've been waiting for Holmes, Weeks, one of these guys to break free, but just can't.
It's hold your breath. These guys up front, their only option is to try to hold that top side lane. You can't make that bottom lane work right now. There's no one down there to be able to make that work, so they're all forced to have to run up the high side.
Here comes the run. They're wrecking anyway. Anderson, Smith, Robert Hill, Brent Jones. Hanshaw made it through. The average finish remains.
That took out a bunch of Little Eagle.
Yeah, that's tough. I was just going to mention Trey Holmes and Matthew Weeks had just gotten the run down the back straightaway right here. And it looks like it might be contact from Schuld into Smith. Oh, man, because Robert gets into the back of the 4 car twice and turns him, which turns Anderson.
But was Robert getting a push too?
Let's see. I think he was, because he gets off right here. He gets hit again. Yeah. That's tough to call on Robert because he got that second push from Hanshaw.
I mean, honestly, it started between the 2 Little Eagle cars not lining up perfectly and causing a checkup when everybody is going. I mean, I would
into that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't really consider that on anybody more than just the racing situation between these guys up front here.
Mm-hmm. A few more cars taken out now, and man.
But still not the big one that we're expected to see yet.
It's going to be last lap is what it is.
Oh, look at Personette barely get through that. That Personette barely got through that one.
Mighty impressive. Oh, there was also a wreck between Rucker and Rawls a couple laps ago. We might want to take a look at that because Rawls ends up getting completely wrecked, and he will be out of the playoffs now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, let's see if we can find it.
So Rawls is lap 95. And Rawls not terribly happy. He's asking for race control to take a look at the incident between he and Rucker.
That was the one that we saw when Rucker had spun out to the inside lane there, and I called it a wreck, and it didn't actually end up to being a caution, but I did see Rucker making some erratic maneuvers here.
Yeah, so Rucker makes this first block. I think Rawls gets into him a little bit, and then Rucker just hangs a left down the racetrack and gets into the 25. I'm surprised this isn't a caution because Rawls was all the way around.
Yeah, I am too.
Wasn't it? Because we saw Rucker going back and forth and spinning. But
yeah, he spins down to the inside lane a little bit.
But that would never have resulted in a caution. But the Rawls incident, I guess it was because this group was too far back, so there wasn't really any cars there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it must have been that. Wild night this has been at Daytona. But a fairly clean race, only 5 cautions to this point. We haven't seen the big wreck we were expecting to see. There's a lot of cars in the lead lap right now, a lot of cars in contention for this thing still.
Well, let's take a look at also some of the interesting facts here is that this is also a chance for some of these guys to try to win their way in. Holmes is pretty much in if he just runs there on points. I think he should be good. He's on that cutoff line there.
Yeah, I wonder what Michael Goodman had to say about this race.
Oh, yes, sorry. Let's take a look at Michael Goodman, one of those drivers that we're talking about.
As far as navigating the race, just kind of play how the rest of the field goes. We've had these where, all throughout the 400 miles, it's pretty wild and crazy. But we've had ones where it kind of doesn't get crazy till the end. So you just do what you got to do to be around at the end of the race. But it can be really stressful if you're trying to get in the playoffs. I've been in that situation before, and it kind of you just feel like you're nothing's in your hands, but you try to control the controllables and just be around at the end and do the best you can. Put yourself in a spot to, if you have to win or finish well. But as far as winning concerned, sometimes if you have to win and then you're just playing with house money at that point, and you just got to go get it.
Interesting. A note from Goody there. Running in that 8th position, going to be lined up on that outside lane, which is the preferred position, it looks like, on these restarts, as drivers all tend to drive up to the outside lane. So Goody with a really good shot to be able to have a really good finish here. But like David said, he's wrecked. He's already wrecked. Don't worry about it.
Already wrecked. Don't even worry about it. 2 orange cars up here in the top 10 in terms of our ticker. Trey Holmes, Josh Clark. We were thinking about it. Trey Holmes should be good on points if he finishes up here above Seth Rawls. I think he's okay as long as he finishes above the 25. Josh Clark's going to need some help. I think he probably needs a win. I think 28's probably win or go home. Goody, Chris Wright, they're obviously just racing for wins, and neither of those guys have won this season. I think Goody's got an Elite Series win. Those guys are going for it, right? And I hope we see moves that align with that.
Well, the pace car lights are off. We're going to be going back to a green-white checkered here, as these drivers are going to have 2 laps to try to get around here to position themselves in to win the final race of the regular season. Green flag is out. David Tucker able to get going there with Chris Wright underneath him. It looks like David Tucker is going to clear himself and get up to that high side lane. That's kind of what we projected. Now it's going to be a race to see who's able to get to each other's bumpers the best.
Who's on the bottom leading is Chris Wright. He's been the most aggressive car tonight. Help from Ryan Gable in the 0-1 for Lake Norman, and Trey Holmes in the 88, who's been a really good pusher tonight.
Yeah, again, no one being able to make that middle lane work just as of yet. So these drivers are making sure that they try to get their particular lane going here. The inside lane's really hooked up right now, able to get a really good
Down into Chris Wright, and Wright turned in front of the field. They're going to wad them all up here. Trey Holmes is the only one out of it. Matthew Weeks made it through.
Goodness.
And Josh Clark made it through. There's the big one we were thinking about. And what a huge moment for Trey Holmes.
Was David Tucker doing there?
He drove down into the door of Chris Wright and
Wrecked
the
him.
side draft. The side draft was not much of a side draft.
That was something. That's
Wow.
Right? He just hit. He
Just
got it. I
hit
think there
him.
was some net code, but like,
but he hit him.
He came all the way down. Trey Holmes makes it through here. Stanley's going to make it through. Weeks is going to make it through. Clark phased through everyone. Burrell doesn't have too much damage. Dewar doesn't have too much damage. I'm just saying who made it through because that list is shorter.
Personette. Oh man.
Personette wrecked. Hosak into Goody. Goody did get wrecked.
Goody's destroyed.
I tried, Goody. We tried. Just in the wrong spot there on that restart up on the top lane there. Fody, I think, gets a piece of this.
Just don't know why do that. You have the outside lane, you're gonna get the run.
Yeah, they're trying to side draft. They're trying to pull that inside lane back, and it's not gonna work.
That was too much.
Hanshaw clobbers into the one car. Schold clobbers into the one car.
Everyone getting a piece of the one's back bumper.
They're trying to spread awareness of the
RC
podcast.
hard. Yeah, there you go. Taking a piece home with them.
Yeah. Hanshaw, I believe, besides the contact with the one car, does make it through this wreck. Bodie's through the grass, but that 40 car looks pretty healthy. Hunter Smith's car damaged earlier, but I don't think further damaged in this wreck. 519. Those guys are done. 44 is done. 36 is done. 89. Brent got wrecked in this one. Gable's done. Stanley's pretty hard hit.
Involved. Yeah, just hit everything there.
Nowhere to go.
Oh,
Stanley stayed out on the racetrack, by the way. That car has been through hell, and it's still there.
here's the thing, though. I mean, Tucker all day today was upset about the Monday night's race where he got taken out at Super Speedway here at Daytona for aggressive driving, and well, now he doesn't get to say anything.
Yeah, there's a little more there. Re-rack. And the whole field goes by. I can't believe Josh Clark gets through here. Look at the phase. Justin Vandermarl is also going to get through pretty minimal damage in that 80 car. You can see him down there. He's kind of blinking in and out. Massey.
Want to go ahead and bring up Chris Wright? He's asking to join us.
Can we? Let's talk to him because he was the most aggressive driver all night.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Did get a word from Chris Wright here. I'm going to bring him into it.
I got him. Chris,
Perfect.
It's David in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you, boys.
Well, you were the most entertaining driver tonight. You were able to make the moves. Before we talk about the wreck, take us through your night real quick. Just, making that move where those guys wanted to come down and side draft. You were able to stay up top and jump on people's outsides all night long. What was the mentality there? And, did you feel like it was working really well?
Yeah, I feel like I came into tonight knowing I was a long shot to make the playoffs, so I was just going to race and be aggressive and do what I could. And Pro Edge had control of the race for the better part of it, and I was the only guy that I felt like trying to break it up. I think they were a little frustrated, and then you got somebody as good as Tucker to come down and do what he did over there. It's just ridiculous. I get we raced hard all night and everything, but I never once came down and hit one of them in the door, never once side drafted them real hard. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous, man, to get wrecked by somebody as good as Tucker in that fashion just because they're frustrated that they couldn't keep control of the race.
I mean, it's just kind of part of how your season's gone. Unfortunately, tonight was probably your best shot at getting that win wrapped up for Mountain Man. And overall, you're probably going to go down for one of probably the most passes we've seen tonight, especially being able to make passes up towards the front. But overall, do you have anyone to shout out for your team here? Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to have a shot to get the win this time.
Yeah, I mean, just all the Pro Edge. I mean, you know how it is, Gerald. You see these guys up here controlling the race, and, they thought everybody would be content to ride behind all 8 of them. And Yeah, that just wasn't in my vocab tonight. And you can make passes. The package is great. I really like this Cup package. I think the show's been great. The racing's been great right up until that point there where, just boneheaded move on Tooker. He doesn't have a shot to win now. Neither do, he wrecked all of us over there. So just absolutely ridiculous. I want to shout out everybody at Mountain Man. Shout out Chairgating. Not sure if the boys are watching tonight. I know they're getting ready to go to Talladega this week. Everybody at Belly Up Sports. And of course, all you guys up here in the booth. Dave and yourself, Gerald. And I'm glad I can make the race exciting for us, I guess. It's pretty frustrating that everybody wanted to sit there and be content to ride behind those Pro Edge cars, but I had no vision of riding anywhere but the front tonight.
Well, thank you, Chris. We're about to go get green here. We'll hopefully talk to you more this season, but we're about to see how this is going to wrap up here at Daytona here. We're going to have another green-white checkered here, as it is going to be Trey Holmes going to be leading that inside lane now. As you stated there, David, Ethan Stanley with a ton of damage is going to be leading that outside lane. It's going to be interesting to see how he's able to do it.
You got like an alarm going off there, Gerald, but green flag for Trey Holmes. Got help from Matthew Weeks and Justin Vandermarl. I think Vandermarl is Trey Holmes' teammate, so that teamwork should come into handy here. And let's see who's got a healthy race car versus a damaged one. I think Stanley's and Vandermarl are both pretty damaged right here, and that's going to allow Holmes and Weeks to have a big lead. That's all. Oh, they're wrecking huge. Robert Hill.
Big wreck.
Robert Hill just flipped over in the back straight in turn 1. 63. Oh man, Robert hit the wall harder than he did a couple weeks ago at Rockingham. Like way harder. This was. Oh my goodness. Trey Holmes will maintain the lead. That was a product of. There's a couple of damaged cars running in the top 5, and they have to check up. And Robert just destroyed the wall. Norgard involved, Johnny involved, Fortner involved. Norgard and Delicato is going to get into this one as well. Huge wreck. We still have you, Gerald? Where'd you go take care of the... It sounded like a fire alarm. I hope Gerald's house isn't burning down.
I wonder if his battery didn't die or something on his mic, or...
Maybe.
Can't hear him. Still here.
Racing incident on this caution, and I concur with that, but a massive incident for Robert Hill. And the whole second group of the pack is completely gone. And we were wondering earlier, Dave, what would take out one of these next-gen cars? That would do it. Getting hooked head-on in the wall at 180 mile an hour. That will eliminate the cars from the race. Robert will not finish this one. He's in the infield care center already. Let's
bring him up.
It seems like tradition that we have to talk to Robert after he takes a brutal shot into the outside wall. Robert, after recovering from last week, how's your neck feel this week?
Oh man, I think I need to get a new neck after that one. That was the wildest ride I've ever taken. I was fully upside down, staring down at, I think that was Hunter Smith that went underneath me there. That was just insane.
Robert, take us through the night. I know you were trying to play that strategy of hang out at the back till everybody wrecks, but then everybody kind of didn't wreck there until this green-white checkered group. So, how did your night go? And then you can give us some shout-outs. Actually, no, we're not. You don't have to give shout-outs yet. We're not 2 to green yet. Gerald's still gone.
Oh no, Gerald. It was a weird night. We kind of hung back early on, tried to play it safe. About 75 laps down, 25 or so to go. Decided it was go time, so we started working our way up there, and then got caught up in a wreck, and then checked up for the wreck that Chris was involved in. Got run over from behind, and then this one, I was all over the rear end of a Leighton, and then I think Justin Fortner got the rear end of me, sent me into a Leighton, and that just sent me way up the racetrack. And next thing I knew, I was looking down, and that's not what you're supposed to be seeing at Daytona.
Gotcha, Robert. Any shout outs here before we send you off?
Yeah, I got to thank Roasted Gems Coffee. Use coupon code MOUNTAIN to save 10% off your order when they get the store back up. Shout out to Dave Huckleberry and Hucks for being on board, as well as Justin Vandermeer of JV Designs and Drive Smart Warranty. Glad to work with them this year. And shout out to you guys up here in the booth. It's always a fun night here at Daytona, and it's not over yet.
No, it is not. And I think your coffee sponsor there, I think they've got the best group, because you've blended coffee beans 2 weeks in a row for us on in this race. So they got to be happy, even though they're not getting the finishes that maybe that we were hoping for.
Oh, we definitely blended it up here tonight, but we'll see what happens here. As I think they're getting set to go again. We'll see if they make it to the finish line.
Gerald, are you back with us?
Let's see if Gerald's back. Gerald might ask you something.
Yeah, sorry.
Welcome
about
back.
That. I was so excited that the power went out. That was my battery backup box you are going.
Oh.
So
There it
it's
is.
getting electric. It's so electric, it took all my electricity away from my Florida home. So Daytona is getting excited. Hopefully, Robert, we can see. I don't know if you have any of your team up there in the top 10. No, I don't see it. Mountain Man's going to have to rebuild some cars.
14th?
I think Jordan's the top one in 14th, and then I think everyone else is in the grave. So it's not looking too good right now. But man, even my teammates at Abbott are all gone. So let's get it for a Canadian tonight, Vandermeer or Hosek to get it done. Let's see what happens here, as it should be a good finish.
What's that Toy Story Canadian guy that says it? Like OK Canada or something like that. So maybe an OK Canada situation go on here, and we'll get a Canadian driver to win here in Florida.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, but have yourselves a good finish, boys. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me after coming out of the medical center with all the bandages in the world.
We appreciate it, Robert. Have a good night.
You too.
Oh, I cut him off. Oh well. Trey Holmes is. We're going for this third green-white checkered. This will be the last attempt, no matter what. And Trey leading Matthew Weeks, Ethan Stanley, and Justin Vandermarle's damaged cars still sitting third and fourth. Josh Clark still with a shot, even if a long shot won there in fifth. Ethan Burrell sixth. Josh Adams got that one car still in seventh. Dusty Dewar's up here in eighth. Michael Hosak's in ninth, and Wyatt Knadle's 10th before we re-rack him and go green. Actually, I think Jesse Racimus is 10th. Once they stack this outside lane up, Knadle will be 11th with Fody 12th, and Delicato 13th, and Jordan Owens 14th, as Robert mentioned.
And we're going to have a green-white checker once again. I think this is the last one, isn't it?
Last one.
Yeah.
Race is over. Next caution. Next flag ends this race. So, let's see what happens.
Pace car is going to be coming down. We're going to be going back green here. Trey Holmes on the bottom lane. Green flag is out. He's going to have a push from Ethan Stanley. They're able to both clear the outside lane and watch both of them drift back up to the top of the racetrack. Now we're going to see what kind of pushing and shoving we can have here. Who's going to be able to make it work? It looks like Matthew Weeks to the outside.
Trey's going to block in Weeks. So here comes Ethan Burrell down to the bottom. He's going to have a big push from Dusty Dewar. Dewar and Burrell into the picture in the Do-Good cars.
The Do-Good running there on the bottom, but are they going to have any help? Ethan Burrell is going to be on that bottom, but it looks like the outside lane's pretty lined up here.
Here comes another big run. That's Fueled Up Racing with Vandermarle and Knadle teammates. They're also teammates with Holmes.
Looking for their first wins there in third and fourth place. Here they come back around. They're going to get to the white flag.
Jesse Racimus on the bottom leading with Ethan Burrell in behind. Can Racimus get a big run in the monster car? White flag is out. Trey Holmes, the race leader.
It's going to be a race back to the checkered flag here. Who's able to get it done? Looks like Matthew Weeks is trying to look inside, outside. Here comes Racimus on the bottom lane with help. All the way back.
Big push from Ethan Burrell.
What a shove by Ethan Burrell, able to get it going. They're all trying to find a way up there. Matthew Weeks is on to the back of the 88, the 37 to the back of the 70.
Yep, those two both need this finish. Holmes doesn't have to win, but Racimus does. Here comes Fody to the middle.
Oh, they're pushing out of turn 4. It's going to be side by side here.
They're going to finish clean and green. Weeks abandons Holmes. Here comes Racimus to the bottom. Jesse Racimus wins at Daytona.
Racimus wins it here.
Jesse Racimus
from Ethan Burrell.
We asked him to change the scheme all season long. We're finally going to get to talk to him, and it's a win at Daytona, maybe to get into the playoffs.
Oh boy, he's going to be excited about that. He got knocked out of it on the Monday night race, out of the Xfinity. He missed out after getting wrecked at Daytona. And then he comes here for the Wednesday night race and wins his way in.
I think so, right? There's still some calculations that need to be made, but Jesse Racines, with a push from Ethan Burrell, as Matthew Weeks abandons Trey Holmes to go to the top, it costs both of them the win, and it gives it to Jesse Racines on the bottom of the racetrack with a 3-wide photo finish at the line. Oh, right so there. Close. Weeks is going to finish second. Burrell third, I believe, over Holmes. 0.026, the total result there from Racines back to Weeks, and then Burrell with that finish. Weeks does, I think, clinch the regular season championship rather easily. Jesse Racines wins at Daytona. First elite win. I think it's first elite cup win. I think Racines has a win in another win,
yes. Yeah, I think he has one in the trucks and everything.
Great drive from Jesse Racines. And we talked about the monster scheme. He won the pole at Daytona earlier this year. Or I think he was outside pole at Daytona earlier this year for the Daytona 500 and wound up wrecked in that one. And he's had no luck in this monster car. Gotten in a lot of wrecks, but we've attributed it to the paint scheme, right? We've talked about it a lot. We're finally going to get to talk to him. We're going to have to ask him to change the scheme. Maybe we won't now that's won a race.
Yeah, it's a race winning scheme now.
Oh, man, what a finish there. Jesse Racines takes it home. We'll talk to Weeks and Burrell again. I feel like we talk to them every single week. I kind of wanted to talk to Trey Holmes. Trey made the playoffs. He's maybe arguably more important even still, because I think a fourth-place finish is going to be good enough to get him into the playoffs, but he was leading until the very final corner right there.
This was the race finish here. Racines got it by 2/100ths of a second over Matthew Weeks. Ethan Burrell was able to get that third position. Trey Holmes back down to fourth. Unfortunate for him. Coming out of turn 4, he was leading it and then to fourth. So just did not have the help behind him that was secured like Ethan Burrell was for Jesse Racines. How about Dustin Dewar? Able to get 5th place after getting criticized so heavily on the Twitter there, so heavily for his wreck on Monday night. Came back and got a 5th place finish. So great finish for Dustin Dewar. Really good super speedway driver. Justin Vandermeer was able to get 6th. Also a good run for him. These are the rest of the finishes through the field here. So what wonderful finish for some of those guys.
For sure. Yeah, that you'll have that here at Daytona, you know, where things get kind of chaotic late. Somebody like Nick Delicato finishes 11th in this race, who definitely had no business finishing 11th after wrecking on lap 11. But a really fantastic finish there, fantastic result. And let's talk to our podium. And first we'll bring up the pusher to winning this race, and that would be Ethan Burrell.
Ethan, you got us. You were able to find another driver to the lead. I know you wanted to be the guy out front, especially with Dustin Dewar pushing behind you. But overall, I mean, you were able to survive all the craziness at the end there and still be able to come up to get a really solid finish for the final race of the regular season. Is that in your books a good Daytona finish in your mind? Able to get a guy their first Cup victory, help push him to that, and also be able to get yourself a top 3 finish?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, man. Shout out to Dusty and Jesse too. I mean, Dusty and I kind of had a master plan for that last restart. You know, I basically told him, just hang on. I'm gonna make some moves and just push the heck out of me, and he did an awesome job at that. And yeah, it was bittersweet. I was kind of bummed when Jesse dropped down in front of me, but I mean, hey, it's, you know, last lap at Daytona. He made a great move, blocking our momentum, and it wasn't a bad block at all. And I jacked him up all the way till, I don't know, probably a football field past the start finish line. It was all or nothing there. So yeah, it's cool for Jesse. Gutted for Trey there. Looked like, was thinking he had it. You know, I didn't think we were gonna have that good of a run off the bottom, but yeah, man, it's a good result. I went into this race wanting to either win or go flipping. I didn't do either of those, but I guess a podium's still pretty solid.
Yeah, Ethan, take us through getting through the last couple of wrecks there and kind of the situation you found yourself in, pushing a non-teammate to the win. Did you ever feel like you had a chance to make a move there, or were you kind of just pinned to the bottom and hoping that Jesse just pulled you through to P2?
Yeah, at that point, kind of all bets are off. You're just kind of going. You don't have any more friends or teammates anymore. And um, man, if I could have got clear of the 3 wide there, I absolutely 100 days out of 100 would have jumped up and tried to make a move on him, but I just didn't get the opportunity. So I played the role that I had to play. You know, the hand was kind of dealt for me once Jesse made that good move to come down in front of me. So I just sent it, man. You know, I would have loved for a Trey Holmes win, or Matthew Weeks was up there too. But hey, man, you're racing to the checkers. I mean, that was got to do everything that you can do to try to win it for yourself. And I will say though, I worked with Jesse a lot in the 500 to start this season, and him and I kind of figured out that we're gonna work pretty well together at the plate tracks. So it just so happened he found me there at the end.
Well, go ahead and give us your thank yous and shout out for Do Good once again, getting them another top 3 finish. Really good run to the season here as you're going to get set up for the playoffs. Go ahead and give us your thank yous and shout outs that help you get to this position.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Betty. She's always tuning in, watching these races. She loves the product you guys put out. And big shout out to Dustin Dewar, Michael Goodman. They had great runs. Goody got violently eliminated from the race there towards the end. He flew over, I think, me and Dusty, and didn't damage our cars. Thankfully, that would have been awkward. But Dusty did a whale of a job there at the end, giving me the extra push when I was pushing Jesse. And yeah, shout out to you guys, man. You guys do a really good job, and yeah, I feel like sometimes you guys are underappreciated for how great you've been broadcasting this Cup Series this season. And shout out EPI. Do good. Yeah, the Pro Edge guys, they were doing good. And yeah, also shout out to Chad, I guess. I'll give him one.
There you go. That's Ethan Brawl for his 3rd place finish. Real quick here, David, I have I did quick math here to try to get an idea what our points are looking at. I'm about 95% sure, as far as what my math is showing, Trey Holmes did not make it in on the playoff.
Oh,
And that did put Jesse Racimus in with that win. Trey Holmes knocked out because there was a new winner. Oh, so that's
we'll have to let Chad get there before we make any calls. But
I know, but from my math, I'm almost 99% sure Trey Holmes would have finished 13th, but the final 2 spots are reserved for the guys with wins. And one of those that needed that spot was Ryan Gavel, and the other one was our new winner of Jesse Racimus. So that would have put Garrison Hogan was the other guy with a win. If he would have finished worse than where he did, he would have been out of that top 12. But he retained his 12th place finish with our 12th place points finish with his finish here tonight. So. Yeah, from my math, that's what we're looking at right now. We'll get confirmation, but from my math, Trey Holmes with that little last part there and a different winner would have found himself into the playoffs. Well, let's go ahead and bring up our next driver here, Matthew Weeks, able to get the 2nd place finish here tonight. Try to make that last lap move. You were able to get the regular season championship locked up versus Tyler Fody. That was the first check mark. The second one, you came second to. you almost got that win to be able to get yourself some more bonus points. Take us through your night here, Matthew.
I say it was a great night because I felt like I was literally in the top 4 probably all race long once I got up there. Besides that one time I got shuffled out. Then I drove back up there, so I'd say it was a strong night at Daytona. Could have won, but I think that damage I got caught in that big wreck probably slowed my momentum down when I made the move. And plus, Ethan was pushing Jesse really good too. But a solid finish, top 2 in both Daytonas this season. I'll take that.
Absolutely. And they just did now update the points. Trey Holmes is out of it, and that will put Gavel and Jesse Racimus in.
Wow. Yep, heartbreaker for me because I should have just stayed tucked up to Trey, but I didn't want people to be like, "Oh, he's not going 100%," blah blah blah, and all of them. So I just tried to stay out of the drama thing, and I should have just stayed with my homie and said, "Screw everybody."
Yeah, I mean, at that point we thought, but take us through, I guess your kind of I would call it domination, but you were able to hold the lead for longer than just about anybody else tonight. And was that a factor of working with RC, or did you guys just have the top lane figured out? It seemed like you held it for a really long time there in the middle part of the race.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't care who's back there pushing me. I feel like I'm one of the best guys in this next gen at a plate track. So I know I can get up there, I can lead lap. I feel like anyone can push me. I can hold a bump all the way around the track. I can push someone all the way around the track. I know how to take my runs. I feel like that, and having the confidence to do the things in this car like that really helps. And showing out tonight like that, I mean, I felt awesome all night long being up front. That was like really good for me.
Well, we want to go ahead and let you do your shout outs because it's not just the second place finish. I think that's great and all, but it's the regular season championship that we feel like you need to be able to do your thank yous more than anything. Able to go toe to toe with the defending champion there of Tyler Fody, able to get it that coming down to Daytona, a track that he's notorious for running well as yourself, and able to come to a track that has a lot of unknowns and be able to get it done and lock up as many points as you did tonight was impressive.
Yeah, I know no one going tonight. We were tied on playoff points wins. So my main goal was to get the playoff point at lap 50 first. That was the first check mark for the night. And then try to outrace them. That's what I told everybody. So that's what I did tonight. And to win the regular season championship, that helps me because I suck at road courses. So I needed these bonus points to help me through that track and going forward. And then shout out, I feel bad Trey didn't make it. That's on me. I should have just pushed the homie, and I don't care. Should have just took the lash from everyone being mad at me. And so, but I try to be fair, try to race everyone hard and respectful all the time, and that's what I was trying to do. I mean, us as a racer, you see the win right there, everyone's going to go for it. But I still feel bad that Trey missed the playoffs. That was my main goal, was to try to help a friend get in there, and then shout out to the Pro Edge guys, man, and we had a really good season, all of us. I've won big races. I felt like I could have won maybe one or two more if I hit the strategy right. I know Homestead, I screwed that one up. But other than that, we had strong runs all year long. Hopefully, you continue that through the playoffs. Shout out to the Fueled Up guys. 213 Simware, they've been on my car forever, and we continue to run really good with them. So hopefully, try to bring another championship. And you guys in the booth and Huck running the broadcast thing in the background, and everyone that watches, Chad with the league, and tonight was really fun. It was a really good Daytona race. I really enjoyed it. So shout out to everyone that raced tonight.
That's Matthew Weeks, our regular season champion here, trying to make great things happen once he gets into the playoffs. Got a lot of points wrapped up here tonight and a stage point as well. So good job for Matthew Weeks. Before we bring up Jesse Racimas, I have to ask, what do you know the rule, Dave, as far as Tate Lytle's not showing up tonight? How many races are you allowed to miss? Because that might also play a factor.
I think it's 9 races they have to do.
He was considered locked.
Yeah, he was already locked.
If he showed up.
Yeah, I don't know if he.
As long as today was his ninth.
He only did 8 races.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then I think maybe Trey's in, right? Wouldn't Trey be the next one in?
Driver must make 9 of 11 regular season races.
Then Tate Lytle would be out for not showing up tonight. So that actually, I apologize.
Maybe Trey is in.
Maybe Trey is in. I was not paying attention to that aspect of the points.
Yeah, I wasn't
Tate
sure.
Lytle only did 8 races here this season.
They had put Tate as locked earlier. That's I saw that. I was like, well, I guess they're
locked
him in no matter what.
They believed he was probably guaranteed to show up, but
oh man,
I think Tate Lytle may have cost himself not showing up, and that would put Trey Holmes in if that is the case with 9 races, because that is confirmed. Tate Lytle only has 8.
Wow. Let's talk to a playoff driver.
Yeah, that's one question we don't have to answer. Jesse Racimus will be racing for a championship here. He was not able to get it done on Monday. Got knocked out of the chase opportunity in the Xfinity Series. Comes here into the Cup Series here and wins his way in to be able to go for a championship. Does that change everything, your perspective to Daytona? Because you went from the lowest of lows on Monday to the highest of highs here on Wednesday. Tell us about how you're feeling so far with all that's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely like night and day from Monday to now. I mean, Monday was just a fluke. I mean, we were trying to avoid an incident, and Johnny came down onto me, and no harm, no foul. I mean, everyone's just trying to make it through a wreck. So, but yeah, I mean, to get the first win in Elite and it happened in the Cup Series is just mind blowing. I mean, thanks to Ethan. I mean, he stayed on my bumper the entire time, and it was kind of a plan at some point from last Wednesday because I knew I basically needed a win to get in the playoffs. And I actually messaged him on Twitter and I said, if I get a chance to, I'm definitely hooking up with you like we did in the 500. So, I mean, I'm glad right at the end of the race we were able to get together. But yeah, definitely thanks to Ethan for that one.
Jesse, when did you think that maybe you had a chance to win this thing? Was it literally when you dropped to the bottom of the racetrack there with 2 laps to go for the first time to get in front of Burrell and get that push? I mean, it looked like you had kind of bounced back and forth all night long and had kind of it had been kind of exactly the way your entire season has gone so far this year, with just kind of a lot of bad luck, a lot of wrecks, and you just kind of found yourself there at the end.
Yeah, 100%. Like I had no idea that there was even an inkling that I was going to win that until I got down in front of Ethan. I mean, Ethan's an amazing pusher. I'm a good pusher myself. He'll probably attest to that. But yeah, I mean, it up until that point, I had no idea. I mean, we tried working the way on the middle, and the side draft is just so bad in these cars. There's really no feasible way to get through the middle unless you have like 5 guys lock bumpers. And just the way that the race was going all night, trying to push through the middle was going to be impossible. I mean, everyone was coming down, coming up off the low and high line. So it was right before the green on that. I messaged Ethan privately and I said, high side wall. And he goes, yeah, that's what we're going to try. And then they ended up low and a hole opened up. And I'm like, it's the only chance I'm going to get to take it. So I took it and it worked out perfect for me.
Well, again, congratulations on this victory. I mean, what a massive victory. You were able to make that unlucky paint scheme that we stated from the beginning of the season here, able to make it work all the way to I mean, we didn't even think you were a contender until that last lap, essentially. And you were able to get it done. You had a vision of what you had to do, and you were able to get it done here. So overall, congratulations once again. You're going to be able to now race for a chase. Race for a championship in the Cup Series. It's got a long road ahead of you. A lot of tough guys to have to go up against, and also a very difficult playoff season. What's the goal now? Is it just try to change the luck? Maybe this is where it started from Daytona. You're back to Daytona. Is it now a switch over and the good luck's going to go your way?
Man, I hope so. I mean, I generally have decent runs going. It's just I always end up having the crap end of the luck. So yeah, I mean, as long as I get some decent finishes, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna win the championship. There's way too much competition, and those guys are amazing. So but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna fight for it as much as I can, and just hopefully the luck falls my way.
Hopefully you don't blame me anymore for Monday night for wishing you bad luck, but want to go ahead and let you do your thank yous and shout outs for your team and for anyone that helps make this happen for you.
Yeah, team wise, it's nobody. It's just me. So yeah, thanks to me, and yeah, pretty much it there. But I mean, everywhere else, I mean, Jay Connor and I mean, Brandon Ultra hasn't been with us. He's unfortunately working out of the area right now, but we brought on Tyler Skordensky and Gavin Higgins this season. Obviously, my son Jaden Racimus. It's nice to see him running pretty decent, and maybe one of these days he'll get this win like I did. It took me 3 years, so hopefully it doesn't take him as long. But yeah, just you guys here at Elite. Tad puts on a great league, and everybody at Elite Racing Network, Huck, Gerald, Yeah, there's so many people, and there's just so much running through my mind. Robert Hill, Zach, but yeah, just everybody elite. I mean, I definitely enjoy it, and hopefully I'll be here for a couple more years.
Absolutely. It's going to be one of those races that you're going to want to make sure you go back and rewatch over and over again. I know how that first victory feels. So again, congratulations. And now you got to start preparing for a playoff run.
Yep, 100%. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
That's Jesse Racimus there. I know you've got the playoff roster, but I really think they need to make sure.
I did confirm. So the number of races you run only comes into play if you're trying to get in on a win.
Oh, okay.
So Tate had enough points to get in. So he got in strictly on his points.
Wow.
So then Trey Holmes is out then.
Did we ever get a word on whether that means Tyler Fode won the money for the bracket?
That I don't know.
They said it was for Daytona.
We'll ask.
How did Justin Wadsworth finish 10th in this race, by the way? He wrecked too. And what a crazy night, right?
It was hectic. We'll put it bluntly. I mean, Ethan Stanley with all that damage still finishes in 8th. Tyler Fode, we never talked about him, still finishes in a top 10 position like always. Yeah, I mean, just a crazy session here. And again, congratulations to Jesse Racimus. 2 back-to-back, I would call underdog wins.
First time winners.
In a
well,
row.
not first time winners.
No, not first time winners.
Johnny had
for
one
Johnny.
before, but
yeah, but I would call it 2 underdog winners to take up some better spots. Fode wins the bracket money. He didn't even have to do anything.
Well, who do you think's typing that? Oh, you mean Fode didn't have to do anything? Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking about you.
I thought you were talking about me going and finding out. I was like, who do you think's magically putting that on the screen, man?
Yeah, it's a magic.
We're deteriorating. It's the end of the broadcast.
Well, we appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. Again, you'll be able to watch the start of the playoffs here on I believe next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is what race is that? That's going to be
Road America.
Road America road course. So Ethan Stanley is going to try to see if he can get his first road course win of the season. So we're going to want to tune in on April 24th as we take a look at Road America, the start of the playoffs here. Don't miss anything. That'll be at 8 o'clock. Join us as we see the start of the season as 14 drivers try to get themselves locked in to the next round of the playoffs. We appreciate everybody. Thank you, Dave Huckleberry, for the shots here. Thank you, David Westergreen, for co-announcing with me tonight. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to see a fantastic Daytona race. Have yourself a wonderful night and stay happy.